This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Okay, well, here's something that I feel like we do need to talk about because several people have posted it on our Facebook group for good reason. In the very, very first episode of this podcast, we said that there's a dog for every Beth. And
yes.
Beth did pass away very recently. I feel like it was last month or the month before.
No, it's been a while.
few months?
It's been 7 months.
Whoa, really?
7 months.
Whoa, are you serious?
It has
And she'd been sick for a while.
And she'd
too.
been sick.
Oh, I
But
knew
it-
she'd been sick. But
It has been 7 months.
I didn't know it was that long ago. That feels insane to me. Time is really getting away from me. Anyway,
Right.
I thought it was literally like 2 months ago. But she passed away recently, and a lot of our listeners, messaged us about that and how heartbroken dog must be and all of that. And of course, he was heartbroken.
Absolutely.
He does have a new girlfriend named Moon,
yes.
who I think was his assistant. And he talked about having a bond with her that he, because of Beth's death, was feeling suicidal. He was having a really rough time mentally. And so he would call her and text her, and she helped him through his very difficult grieving process. So now they are on their way to getting engaged. They're not engaged yet, but that's where all the rumor mill is.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of our listeners kind of message us and say, like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Well, this is a really interesting topic.
Yeah.
Because it kind of curtails on the conversation that we've had this morning, where we're talking about people's timelines. Grief does crazy things to you, and I think life is crazy enough that whatever you need to do to get through it and to make yourself happy, I'll never judge it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing, like, if he's happy, he's happy.
Right.
No one's on the inside of that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can really judge that. However, I would say, because grief is such a motherfucker,
That
like,
maybe
pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Because, like, your feelings will be exaggerated, especially for someone who's helping you through this thing.
Yeah.
And that we call rebounds for a reason. It's
Yep.
because you're still calibrating what it's like to feel normal and
Right.
like what
And be
like
alone.
normal is and what being alone is. And someone who's been married for that long to somebody for that long and is used to, I mean, I remember when my grandma died, the last time I saw my grandpa, he passed away a year ago. So last January, and I saw him, a few months before that, the summer before that. And when I was with him, my grandma had passed away in 2014 and they'd been married for 50 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was still, when we talked about it, he was still in the process of grieving. And I remember when I went there for her funeral in 2014, I vividly remember, and the thing that broke my heart the most was seeing my grandpa crying and saying, we were together for 50 years. Like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with my life now?
Sure.
And so while I'm super happy for him, I hope it works out. I hope it's real. I would just say, like, grief can be deceptive and it can make you feel things that maybe aren't real.
I mean, I feel like there's stats on that too, because my brother and sister we've talked about it. I'm like, God help us if mom ends up going first.
Oh, God.
Because my mom could go on.
Yes.
Could
your mom
have a
could
life.
absolutely survive it.
My fucking dad couldn't.
No.
And I think that that's something for that generation or something. There's something about, I don't mean to demean or anything like that, but I do feel like
my
like
parents
older
are both-
men will always like remarry or something like that. Really
My
quickly
grandma
'cause they
was
can't
the
be on their own.
backbone of our entire family. Like, our family was, it was a matriarch. Like, she was the matriarch of our family.
Yeah.
And, like, no one expected her to go first. Like, she was healthiest of the two of them. Like no one expected it, and he didn't remarry or anything. But I do think there is something to be said for that generation. She held down the home, and she held down all of the relationships, like friends of the family, all of that shit. She was the glue that held all that together. Dude. So like when she went, it was like, and he lived for 5 more years after that. But when she went, it was really difficult for him to figure out what he's supposed to do.
Who are you now?
Yeah, like
that's
who are
what
you?
You're doing. You're analyzing who are you without this relationship.
It was Dog and Beth. You know what I mean? So
well, the funny thing about Dog and Beth is, yes, they're very much tied to a relationship, but I think that they kind of remind me of my parents in the way that we have my parents. I could see like if my dad passed, my mom would survive and she'd be fine. If my mom passed, my dad would be fine and he'd survive and he'd be fine. You know what I mean? I see both of them as very strong, independent people who happen to both be in a relationship with each other. Yes, it's hard. It would be hard to define that relationship outside of that, but they both have very strong
personalities.
They're both very they're both not necessarily, they have things outside of the relationship. Well, does that make sense?
But here's the other thing. My dad, when he was forced into retirement, went through this fucking crazy depression. So you think about, and I think that this generation, like starting with ours, Cassie, and getting more and more concrete as the generations go on, I think our generations are not as defined as what we do is who we are, or who we're with is who we are, that we're becoming a more like richer individual society, which has its pros and its cons.
We are definitely an individualist kind of society where, you know, and I think a lot of that came out of like the self-esteem movement of the 90s and of course like, you know, social media and all that stuff where, and there are pros and cons to that, right? Because it does make everyone feel like I'm super special, which is great and bad in a lot of ways. Right. But it does mean we put less stock into like our relationships define us. Right. You know what I mean? Like I fully know that my mom would be not fine. Okay. But my mom would survive if my dad were to pass away, partially because I've seen it. Yeah. Like my biological dad passed away when she was 25. She was 25. She had 2 kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? 2 small kids. And she survived and she made it. And I know that she would do the same if my stepdad were to pass away. He, on the other hand, I don't know how well he would do without her. You know, so it's kind of like it's an interesting thing to look at.
I wonder what that is, because I feel like that is common where you see like women like soldier grief and be able to build a new life, but
I think
wonder
there's
what
something
it is in
biological or evolutionary about that, because women have had to do that for a very long time. You know, like for a long time, men went to war, women stayed home, and they had to be this kind of like rock for their like family and their systems, and they had to kind of get their minds wrapped around the idea that like
they may have to do
you might have to do this alone, right? Like
why aren't we president? Why aren't we?
Women should run everything.
The fucking world.
Honestly,
I'm sorry.
It's
like
true.
Our quiet strength.
I mean, look, we not to get like too into it, but like I went to a job interview earlier this week, first day of my period, massively in pain. Yeah. Right. Like, and there is something to be said for like men who are listening to this. You meet women probably every day whose bodies feel like they are falling apart.
Absolutely.
Like they are being torn apart from the inside, and they still have to shake your hand and say, hi, nice to meet you. Everything's fine. Here's all the reasons why you should give me this job, and not let it slip that they actually feel like their insides are being ripped to shreds. So there is something to be said for like the strength that women have, because we've had to adjust to acting like nothing is wrong. Everything's
Oh my God. Speaking of the sweetest thing ever. So here is literally.
I'm like, were we talking about the sweetest thing ever?
No. But it made me think of it because she said period, because I'm like, I've only gone through 2 periods with my dude now. And I told him, I'm like, here's the key. Like it happens in the 20s. So just be aware. Yeah. That's around
those are my
the
dates.
time that things are going to get a little cuckoo. And I'm like, the only thing I want to do is eat Munchos and green onion dip, neither of which you can find in Los Angeles.
Oh, shit.
You cannot find Munchos.
Really?
Like,
I don't even know what that is. So
dude, Munchos? Okay. So
are they like munchies?
chips and dip are fucking my go-to on my period. So, and the saltier the chip, the
That
better.
is so crazy to me because I avoid salt.
Oh, I want
That's so
all
insane.
the salt. So I'm like, I've had to deal with having Ruffles and French onion dip,
Ugh,
which is
I can't.
fine,
I
but
mean,
it's not the
burn it
same.
down.
It's not the same. Munchos.
I'm like, I like that.
Munchos
actually.
are made by the same people that do Funyuns.
Yeah.
And they're like, they are the
Oh.
saltiest.
Have you ever had Funyuns in dip? Oh, mwah. I mean, it is salty
all
as
the
shit, but
salt.
it's so
Yes,
good.
Yes. So he found green
No.
onion dip. My last, he made it.
No.
You can find this backpack, and I hadn't had it since I like left Ohio. I got teary. I actually was just like, this is exactly what my vagina wants right now.
You're feeding my vagina on every level right now.
Every level. But yeah, that's
Bless up.
my God. And that's, I still
Find
had
you
to
a
go to
man
work.
who will make you some.
To your point, I still had to have to go to work and have to pretend to be like a normal fucking person. Meanwhile,
I love
I'm
it.
like,
I was. Did you guys watch? What is her fucking name? Every time Michelle Wolf. Michelle
yeah.
Wolf has her new stand up, and
Oh.
she's talking about like we should just call. We're too cute about like childbirth and like it's a miracle, and like we're like way too cute about things. And she's like, you should just tell your employer that you have bloody tissue coming out of a hole. And if you said that, then he'd be like, it's fine. Take the week. You can stay home. You don't
Yeah.
need to come to
Yeah.
work because it's like, that is what it's like. We're so expected to just be normal. And
we're talking about like hiding pads or tampons when you're going on the way
I
to the
still do
bathroom.
that.
And
I
do
still
too.
do that. It's like I wear my hoodie, I put it in the pocket of my hoodie, or I put it up the sleeve of
Up
my
the sleeve.
sweatshirt to
Girl,
go
that's
to
why
the
I
bathroom.
use OB. It's a palm. That's it.
Yeah, but still, the fact that we have to do it at all
I
is
know, it's
bullshit.
dumb.
It's just like
Half the population wants a fucking month. It's beyond common.
And someone posted on our Facebook group about that guy that's like, if women hate periods so much, why don't you just not have them? And I'm like,
up.
I'm gonna period all over his fucking stupid ass face. I'm gonna period everywhere across it. Be like, okay, buddy.
this is really a fun listen. Wow. People are really enjoying themselves at this
Welcome.
moment. Oh, guys. Okay, I have to tell you something. And I'm sure, I don't know if people want to hear about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I went to Disneyland. I went to Disneyland with my brother because he's in town, and Anthony. We went for his birthday, kind of, and we wanted to ride the new Star Wars ride. So there's a new Star Wars ride, Rise of the Resistance, at Disneyland, and we like the second you got in, the lines to get in were like insane. It was a Monday, and I was like, the fuck, why are there so many people here? And the second you get into the park, as soon as the park opens, you can get your like boarding group for the ride, and not everyone will get one, right? There's
Holy
like 72.
shit.
So we literally 9:01, the park opened at 9:01. I'm trying to secure our boarding groups. We were in boarding group 100. Anything after
Jesus.
72 is not guaranteed
Whoa.
to do it. So like the day is wearing on, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to like try and stick around for this.
Do they have a single rider?
No.
Oh,
No, and no fast passes, no single rider. So we stuck around for it, and let me tell you, so worth it. I am so happy.
not
Jesus.
overrated. Okay.
It's a 30-minute immersive experience.
Holy
this ride is
shit.
30 minutes, and they take you from one section. There's part of the ride. It's a 3-part ride. It's 3 acts. Like they take you from like one thing to like another thing. They have actors.
Cassie's face
Yes, dude.
literally exploded.
They have actors who are acting like First Order. Like there's like an interrogation part of it. It is like it's a 3-part completely interactive immersive experience. It's amazing.
I know what to get Cassie for her birthday.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like if you guys, the whole time I was just like, my dad would fucking love this. If you have someone in your life who's like, they're a Star Wars fan,
I'm a Disney fan,
it is
so I just love the idea of
freaking amazing. it's so good.
Awesome.
So worth it. So
Oh.
there's my ringing endorsement. Not that Disney needs any more help with
Disney's
promotion.
Disney's
I know.
wiping its brow.
oh
Thank
my
God.
I'm gonna cut this out just to just send it to them and be like, hey, pay us.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
Fuck
right.
you, pay me. You've got money. I
pay
know
me.
you do.
They're
I
like,
know.
yeah. Oh, thank you so
Oh,
much.
we
for
have the
your-
My
Thanks.
Worst Date endorsement. So happy about it.
Speaking of things we're totally going to do, because we put a pin in this conversation earlier.
Oh, hell yeah. We're
I
going to have
need-
watch parties for The Circle.
Yes.
And for whatever that
Yes.
new one is. Okay, so.
Okay, I need to hear all about this.
All right. So here's the thing. We were over at a friend's house. There was a group of us over at a friend's house, and it's actually our friend Pizu, who you wouldn't expect to be the target demographic for The Circle, right? He's like, I don't know, he's like middle-aged man.
Yeah.
And
Who you've probably run into on TV at
You've
some point.
definitely
because
seen
this
him.
Been on,
motherfucker is
like,
booking
everything.
he's
Yeah.
booking commercial after commercial. So
And
you've seen him for
shows,
sure. Yeah.
McMillions. No big
Yeah.
deal.
So he was like, we were all sitting in the living room, and he was like, you know what would be kind of fun since we're all here together? We should watch the first episode of The Circle. So we
I
put
saw
it
the
on.
trailer for it and I was like, this
No,
is
thank you.
garbage.
Oh, it is garbage. Oh, it's hot trash. Like that show is trash.
But see, that's so fun to watch
But
in a group.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
I and that's why I've only ever watched the first episode, because we watched it together, and I wasn't
never
going to
wanna
go
watch it
home
by myself.
and watch it by myself, right? But
Right.
like in a group,
Yeah.
it was so fun because you had like live commentary, because
Oh,
of course they
man.
get the most wrecked people to be on that show. I guess it was a UK show
Wait,
originally.
why wasn't I invited to this party?
Look, I would actually do this. I actually think it would be kind of fun. It's kind of like it's strategy more than it's anything else.
Okay.
So you are all sent to this like hotel or apartment building, right?
Okay.
You're all put in separate apartments, and you're isolated. So you do not interact with other people except through this like Alexa type thing called The Circle, and it's a social media platform.
Okay.
So you create your profile, you put your profile picture up, and you interact with other users as if it's social media.
Okay.
And at the end, they like if you're not popular enough, you'll get kicked off the show, and they'll bring other people on. Yeah, my ego couldn't handle it.
No.
But what's cool about it, or the strategy that comes in, is that you can either be yourself, or you can catfish. You can pretend to be someone else completely.
You guys have no idea how much this ties into my crazy
Oh,
love.
I'm
Oh,
excited.
good.
I love a good catfish.
Dude, that is
No,
phenomenal.
isn't it? Right, because I'm just like, it's kind of a cool social experiment. It's interesting to watch, like how much, because there's one precious little like 21-year-old geek on there who's just like, I'm gonna be myself. And I'm
you're
gonna
like,
prove, and I'm like,
honey.
sweetheart,
Bye, honey.
First one
But,
out.
but there were people in the first episode who was like, I think it's kind of cute. We're gonna like keep him around or whatever. And then there was the like influencer Instagram model who immediately everyone is like, ugh.
you.
That's
Because you have to
awesome.
order them like MySpace, right? So you put them at, like your top 8, like who you
Dude,
think is
remember how
first.
fucking sweat inducing that was.
No
When someone
shit.
knocked you off their top 8.
Fuck it.
Oh, I had legit fights.
I had to put in that program or the code for a top 12.
Oh yeah, I did
remember?
too.
Yeah.
Yes, I did
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'm like,
You
I
could-
need more friends.
You could go up to 16. But if you moved, I remember, because if you have multiple best friends from different friend groups,
MySpace.
Yeah, it
Okay.
got-
MySpace should be a generation, because their MySpace was a generation. That's when you started learning how to code.
Yeah.
You were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean,
oh,
honestly.
I knew how to code. For everyone who listened to, I loved everyone who listened to our Private Parts Unknown episode, which, how fun was that? It was
Oh my
a great
God.
time.
So fun.
Stop. So good.
But we had so many people message us with that fucking Jane Fonda song, which hilarious is what Courtney Kosak was trying to think of, and then talking about their MySpace pages. And I
yeah.
so vividly, mine was pink and orange and yellow, and it was all Regina Spektor lyrics on a banner that scrolled across the top.
I fucking love you.
Fidelity
so much.
played right away. I did the code so I could have not just the one song, but the full playlist. So it would just, if you were on my page for long enough, it would go on to the next song and the next song.
Oh, mine
and it
was
was all
like
Belle and
Fiona Apple.
Mine was Belle and Sebastian,
Nice.
Regina Spektor, fucking Camera Obscura.
Oh my god.
But so yeah, okay, we should have the Circle watch parties.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
someone else posted a trailer for another Netflix reality show where they pair you up
Okay.
and you only communicate by voice, like through a wall.
Oh, see,
So you can only talk to each other.
dude, I have been told. So I went on like multiple blind dates in the past 2 years, and obviously, like you text back and forth, and then at a certain point, like you graduate to phone call before you meet people. And I was told that I have a very nice voice.
Oh.
So yeah, I
See, I think
Like-
people would be annoyed with me immediately.
Same.
People were very excited to meet me after getting me on the phone, and then abruptly disappointed once they met me in person.
I'm excited to see what this show
my
is
phone
like.
voice was definitely I would win that reality show.
Well, but
Definitely.
then, so once you've decided, like, yes, this is the person for me, after
Yeah.
just talking on the phone, then you do meet in person, and then it like shows the journey of what your relationship is like. Can it withstand being
Real
together?
life?
Yeah,
Oh,
in
yeah.
real life.
Oh my god,
I'm
I totally interested in watching that. I have
Trash
to.
TV.
Well, I just
into
found all
it.
my pictures from my MySpace page.
Oh my god, please post
Stop
them.
it.
Oh my god, please post them.
Holy smoke balls.
Oh my god.
Holy smokes, Christina.
Jesus,
I am real upset that I hard deleted my MySpace. Like upset about
Oh
it.
my god, what was that first picture? Let me see.
That was Sarah and Gabe.
Like back in the day.
Yeah.
Holy crap,
Is that funny?
that was like 15 years ago.
right? I'm sorry, guys.
No, I know it's
Wow.
I had to Google it. I was like, I wonder if I can even get any.
I contacted MySpace to try and get my
Yeah,
account
I
back.
did-
I couldn't do it.
I did a hard delete too.
Mhm.
Look at Isabel. What a journey.
No, I know.
Sorry.
I it's one of the biggest regrets of my life that I
Yeah.
hard deleted my MySpace. I saved some pictures from it, and I could show you. There was some real eyeliner photos. I could show you, and I will during the break.
I want Keegan in white eyeshadow.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
like
you
honestly,
got some ice blue
what I had
eyeshadow?
was ice blue
Yes.
loose. It was a loose
Ooh,
shimmer powder
yes.
that
I'm
you
loving
like.
it.
That
You
too.
I'm loving
tap it
it.
into the lid, and then you use your finger to
I'm
apply
loving
it to
it.
the eyelid. Amazed.
I knew it.
Best
Amazed.
trick ever. Do all black underneath it and then do it over top, and it would like pop.
Oh, honey,
Ooh.
honey, thin eyebrows, fucking like frosty lips, frosty lipstick,
So much shine.
roll on glitter,
Shine.
roll on glitter.
Shimmer. Yes.
You just looked wet in pictures.
Oh, I love it. You look like a greasy chicken. I like it.
Greasy
Just look like a straight rotisserie chicken. It's delicious. I love it.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Well, there's the episode title.
Wow,
Great.
Greasy chicken.
should
Welcome to my worst date, by the way.
Yes.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
You
I
just
like
said
that
last
out
week
of
that-
nowhere. I did it because I was like, this one's mine.
This one's for me.
This
What?
one's mine.
So we have new patrons.
Yes.
Very exciting, always exciting. So we would love to give a shout out to Haley Sinks.
Yep.
Welcome. Dana Inskeep, who is on our Facebook all the time.
Yep.
And likewise, as Dana, we also have Joseph Martinez,
Oh.
who is on our Facebook all the
Always.
time as well. And I think we talked either earlier in this episode or in our shorty, they're running together, about what a wonderful base of men we have in our Facebook group. It's
best.
fantastic. And Joseph has definitely kind of like joined that as far as like anytime we get a comment, it is so like positive and so well thought out and introspective. And we have a lot of men in our Facebook group who are like, oh, I didn't think about things that way before.
Yeah.
And I love that. So thank you so much to Haley and Dana and Joseph. We are so happy to have you. We're so grateful for you.
Yeah.
And we love you
Welcome
guys.
aboard.
Welcome.
Well, should we fuck, marry, kill?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got a whiteboard
Look,
now.
Okay. I really think we should do names. It's on the top of our FMK list.
Okay.
This is one that we got from one of our listeners.
Okay.
Schmegs and Bacon on Instagram, if anybody knows her.
Schmegs
Word.
and bacon. I love
She
it.
had sent us this thing from BuzzFeed, and it was names. It was guys' names, and it was Matt, Alex, Ryan.
All right. So
Okay.
I'm going to disclaimer right off the top.
Yeah.
We know you can't help what you were named.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
And my
sorry.
name's Cassie, for fuck's sake. Ugh, my name has ass in it. Okay.
None of this is a personal indictment on your integrity,
Hashtag
personality. Not all Matts.
Not all Alex.
I'm surprised there's no Kyle in that list, to be honest.
I'm actually shocked that
Or
I
Brad.
feel very confident in my answer.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, you go first then.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's Matt, Alex, Ryan.
Just based on
Matt.
stereotypes.
Based on BuzzFeed.
Alex and Ryan.
Okay.
I'm going to marry a Ryan.
Okay.
Ryans are kind. Ryans are kind of sweet. Ryans are like subdued. They're fucking good dudes. They wear,
I feel like a baseball cap, but not in a douchey way. Just in a
No,
laid
they
back.
just
They're
laid
cool.
back.
I'm cool.
wear a
Yeah.
baseball cap. I like Ryan is the guy that coaches your kid's soccer team.
Yeah, he does.
Yes. When I picture a Ryan, I'm flashing back to Southwest Missouri where I'm from. And I feel like a Ryan, he, again, and in a good way. I feel like he drives a truck.
Yeah,
He wears a hat.
He's solid.
He's just a good guy.
He's
He's
good
a nice
people.
guy.
Good
He's a
people.
Midwest guy, meaning
Yes.
he'll come over and clean out your gutters.
yes.
Yes.
And he's not going to be intense about how he coaches the team. Like
Right.
a Matt
No.
would. A Matt is going to be so intense about that fucking team.
A Ryan gives a high five to every player.
That's right. Matt is pissed off if they lose a game. And you're like, honey, it's T-ball.
Yeah.
Actually, I had
Legit,
a really
like,
good.
chill out.
I had a really good friend who was a Matt, who I loved very much, but he was too
Intense. I had an intense Matt friend.
He was intense, but he was also artistic to the point of like, no, thank you. Like we talked about in the Shorty episode, where it was like, I don't want a starving artist, and I don't want someone who sticks so much to their guns that like they're inflexible. And like he was that way a little bit, and I liked him a lot. He was a good friend of mine, but
I'm going to fuck an Alex.
Yeah, you are.
Because Alex is a little bit wild. He's unpredictable. He is.
and Alex will surprise you, I think.
a surprise. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm rarely surprised. So Alex could be a girl or a guy name.
Could
It's
be.
true. I've heard both.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm like, Alex is gonna be a fun time, but he's not gonna buy you tampons. You
Right.
know what I mean? He's not gonna find that green onion dip for you.
No, he's not.
He's not. But that's gonna be a fun fucking night.
I know an Alex that would.
Yeah.
I do too.
Just saying, but
I think we all actually know.
in general, yes.
And I'm gonna kill a Matt. I just have found our a little bit. I don't know. It's just all the Matts that I know. I have to go with. I know a Matt who is.
Well, here's the problem with
they're just intense.
Here's the problem
Matts
with
are intense.
these names. Here's where I come, like where I have a little bit of an issue with these names, is because all of them are common.
Yeah.
They're super.
And
common.
so I know a lot of Matts.
I know a
and
lot of
not
Alexes.
A lot of them are alike.
Yeah. Hashtag
You know what I
not all
mean?
Alexes.
Right. And I know a lot of Ryans, and not all of them are alike.
Yeah.
And
But which just makes this one more difficult.
it makes it
It
very
does.
difficult. It makes it very difficult because, in my experience, whenever I was in high school, there were a lot of Matts and a lot of Ryans.
Same.
Not a ton of Alexes, but I did know several Alexes.
I knew a lot of girl Alexes.
One of my best friends was a girl Alex in Alexandria.
Yeah.
But all the Ryans I knew, most of the Ryans I knew were very popular, and they were all like
Same with Matt.
they were all like baseball players. You know what I mean? Yeah,
baseball.
the Ryans were all baseball players.
Ryans are baseball players.
Yeah, we
Yes.
just if you name your kid Ryan, just you better be a baseball fan because you're going to go to a lot of little league
Go play
games.
catch with that little boy.
Yes, that's what's going to happen whether you like it or not. I've never met a Ryan who wasn't a mathlete, right? Like he's always like an actual jock. But you know what? That's not terrible. Like I think a Ryan, you are. If you marry a Ryan,
I think Ryans are sweet though.
they're sweet.
And baseball's the
They're
sweetest with the
sweet.
sports.
And I think if you marry a Ryan, you're deciding that you want that life, which is nothing wrong with this, and I think it's good in a lot of ways. But you want that life where like you're gonna live
Predictable and sweet.
in a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Where all the houses kind of look the same.
You're gonna teach your kids to ride their bikes on that cul-de-sac.
Yeah, and it's going to be lovely. And when your kids grow up, they're going to love and appreciate you and take care of you when you get old. That's what you're going to get when you marry a Ryan.
Yep.
Which is great.
And I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for you.
Lauren.
Oh my God, yeah. Exactly. The most Midwest couple is a Ryan and a Lauren. They got married.
Ryan and Megan.
Oh my God, I
And-
could
and
take
you know
you on my
what?
Facebook right now and show you like
Yes.
6
I'm gonna take you
examples
to my
of that.
Lauren-
MySpace.
And Ryan was playing baseball, and Lauren, she wasn't a cheerleader.
No,
she
she
was on
wasn't.
the
No.
cross country team. She played volleyball. Like,
I'm gonna pee
Yes.
my pants. I swear to God, I
And
have
Stacy and Matt.
3 examples of that.
Wow.
3 examples.
Oh,
Jesus
so what are you doing,
Christ.
Keegan?
it's amazing. Okay,
All right.
I really have to think about this because it's actually really hard.
Okay.
It's really
I
hard.
think I know mine.
Because you have to figure out what your future is based on these people.
I already know. I think I already know.
there is part of me that's like, in another life, I think I would really love being married to a Ryan and just like having a nice Midwestern life.
I love that.
That
like,
sounds
I
great.
didn't think that I had that in me.
But actually,
I always
there's a
thought
part of me.
that I would want something like bigger and flashier and more
And
exciting.
Alex is more
and-
exciting, right?
Yeah, and then as I have gotten older, I'm like, "Ugh, give me a Ryan all day,
Yeah.
every day. Like, let
So,
me just
yeah.
take a breath around somebody and just relax, because there is something to be said for having that excitement, but that fucking gets old where you're like, what am I coming home
I want
to?
a dude who's going to put the kids to bed without me asking.
reliable.
And like a Ryan is going to do that for
He
you.
is.
And a Matt, on the other hand, a Matt to me feels more like, even though this isn't my experience personally with like my Matt in my life,
Hashtag not all Matt.
not all Matts, but I feel like a Matt stereotypically and like what I experienced in high school, a Matt is more of like, that is the guy who played football. And that's maybe
Yes,
the
he
guy
is.
who peaked in
and
high
he,
school.
And he wasn't even a good at football. He just that's
right.
just where he was
and
able to peak.
He peaked in high school.
Yep.
And
Not as tall as the other guys.
and is probably a pretty nice dude, was probably real fun. I probably had a crush on Matt in high school.
Duh.
Right, because he was the hottest. I think I had a crush on Matt in high school, but I don't think I want to be married to him. Right? I think if I got married to him, it would probably be because I got married to him at 19 right out of high school, and then when I'm 25, I'm like,
Yeah,
don't know if I made the right
wanna-
decision.
Yeah, like when you were in high school, like Matt was the guy that you wanted to fuck, but I feel like 38-year-old me doesn't want to fuck Matt.
Not
right.
interested.
And Alex was the guy in your art class.
Well, that made it more attractive already.
So
He worked in charcoals.
his hands were always a little dirty. And it was great. I actually have someone, his name was not Alex, but I have someone in my head who I'm slotting into that Alex
Yeah.
position,
And
who
you're
actually grew up to be a very good like dad and husband on Facebook. So, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to do the same thing as you, Christina. I think I'm going to marry a Ryan.
Okay.
I feel like he's going to take care of me.
You really are, though. You really are.
He's going to take care of me. That's right.
Marrying a Ryan.
But I'm gonna fuck an Alex because you know what? We're gonna
Don't
stay
tell
up.
Ryan.
We're gonna stay up all night talking about philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have real deep conversations, and it's gonna be really nice. But I don't have
You're
enough
gonna have
time or
some
energy.
Filthy fucking sex. too.
Absolutely, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
He's gonna make me a lot of like Adventure Time fan art.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fabulous.
Yeah.
But I am not. I can't be married to that person. Like,
No. No.
It's going to be
No.
really fun, and I will think about him fondly for the rest of my life. But that's it.
And then you're killing a Matt.
I am, and
Yeah.
you know, again, not all Matts. I think like I've had good experiences with a lot of Matts. It's just in this scenario.
Also, the way that we as Midwesterners say that name.
Sure.
It's
Matt.
not Matt.
A long A, a hard
Yeah.
A.
Listen,
Yes.
I am not.
What about a Matthew?
I am not digging on
That's different.
anyone's name because my name has ass in it. Okay. Look, so I'm going to preface my statements by saying hashtag not all. I get it. But I'm going to go deep here and I'm going to get
Please
into
do.
it and I'm going to go hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
go hard.
First
Okay.
and foremost, I'm
Go
marrying
for
a
it.
fucking Alex because you know what? Alex is a go goddamn getter. He is probably a CPA. He makes the money. Alex came from a wealthy family.
That's not where I saw Alex,
No.
but all right, do it.
Alex came
Go
from
ahead.
No, I
he
mean,
came from money.
he was able to do art because his family
That's right.
has money.
That's
yeah.
damn
I
right.
see Alex as being skinny
But-
with a big dick.
But
Oh,
that's
yes.
right. He's tall. He's got a big dick. He is a go-getter. He came from money so he can do art on the side. But because of his family riches, he is feeling the anxiety
Alex's
of having
are
to
well
go.
off.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
He's making money, yo.
But you
He's
know what?
making money,
Here's the thing,
see?
though. I did know an Alex whose family was well off, and he was very artistic and very smart. But because of that, his parents didn't pay any attention to him, and he was in a lot of trouble all the time.
And I like
because
it.
of that.
And you know what? He's going to be good in bed, and he's going to make that money, and he's going to bring it home with the bacon, and I like it. And
All
so,
right.
Alex,
All right.
I'm marrying you, son.
Word.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
Okay.
it. We're going to have a spicy relationship, and I like it.
Cassie's gonna kill Ryan.
I think
No.
so. Oh, really?
I might.
I
and
thought you
here's
were.
why. I was, and here's why. Because Matt did peak in high school. You're absolutely right. He did. And he's angry about that. And that
Angry
sucks.
sex.
He's been fucking hitting me up on Facebook.
Well, he's going to
divorced.
worship you. Yes.
He's divorced, and he's got something
You are
going
gonna
to
be the best fuck of his life
Oh, I'm
too.
gonna
And
rock
we
his
all know that guy.
goddamn
Have we
world.
all had, and I could give you his name right now, bleep this out, but hit me up on Facebook. He was a fucking piece of shit to me in high school, and he was super fucking popular.
Girl.
And he hit me up on Facebook way later.
bleep this?
That's right. And they want part of it now.
Yeah.
And that's Matt. Matt's going to.
Yep.
They're going to do that shit.
We all
And
got it.
You know what? It's okay. You don't tell your friends about it.
Oh, I
but
told
you
everybody.
go-
I told on the podcast, and I had to. My friends were all like, "Who was it?" And I was like, "It was boop."
Yep.
But you go in and you get yours because you know what? It's almost like revenge sex.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like
Yes. Oh, it's gonna be spicy.
now I'm the hot shit.
Yeah.
You
I'm
want
on
me
top.
now.
Romeo and Michelle your dick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm on top on this ride, motherfucker.
Who's on top and who's on bottom now?
Yeah. Oh, you played football, Matt. But let's be honest, you weren't even that great at it.
Yeah.
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 And then Ryan, bless up, bro.
No,
I think you're
I
the
knew-
sweetest.
I knew it.
You're sweet. And
You don't-
I
you
like
don't
you.
like-
I'm
you don't like
happy
nice.
for you, Ryan. But I'm not.
Ryan's the
Not here
guy from that who makes all those Midwestern videos.
I don't wanna live-
where he's like,
I don't want to live
I-
in
I made you
Columbus,
a-
Ohio for the rest of my
I
life.
made you a
love
casserole
Columbus.
with cornflakes on the top.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's fucking delicious. And I'm so happy to come home to a fucking
He's
hot
gonna make
dish.
you potatoes 18
listen,
ways.
Alex has got enough money that we can pay to have a nanny. We can pay to have
Yep.
a housekeeper if we want.
Yep.
And guess what? I don't have to work. So if I need to learn how to cook, I'm okay with
Fine.
that.
Word.
I
like
actually
it.
want to video you learning how to cook.
I'm actually a really good cook.
I know.
I just don't enjoy it. So this is the funniest story about this, and this is why I married my husband, because he can and will cook
And he loves
enjoys
it.
He
Yeah.
loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually make some really mean dishes. Like when I am in the mood to cook, Chris will come home and be like, "Holy gourmet dinner," because I am actually a very good cook.
That's what I want for my birthday next year.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
I
I'll
want
do
a
it for you
gourmet
now, 'cause I'm-
Cassie meal.
So I am actually in the mood recently.
Uh-huh.
We're going to make a date, and I will make you my world famous shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie is the best.
And I'm
Pie's
telling
so
you,
good.
my shepherd's pie, you'll be licking the plate. It's fucking good.
This sounds
AF.
really dirty, and I'm here for it.
You're going to love my shepherd's pie. Ooh, when you get your mouth on
I'll
that
make the
shepherd's
cake
pie,
because
you're going to love
I'm-
it.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with baking lately, and
yes,
there
you are.
girl.
there aren't enough people for me to make things for. Like I'm just like, oh, I want to make another cake,
Because
but like
we're all
for a while,
keto
like
right
I
now,
can't
girl.
keep that shit in my house. So
Girl, let me just make it past May. I gotta fucking get
Honey.
revenge skinny, and then we'll talk.
And then it's open season.
Exactly.
Word. Well, that was a great suggestion for Fuck, Marry, Kill. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks,
All right.
Megan.
You guys want to take 5 and come back with stories?
Yes. And we're back. Hey.
Hey. Okay. So I'm starting us off because I have the crazy in love, and
Which I'm
so
excited.
I'm so proud because I actually wrote this shit out like one of y'all.
I know
have
you hand wrote it
pages.
in
I
a
hand
book.
wrote it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm pretty excited. This story I got off of Reddit. And I won't read you the title. I'll just hop
great.
right in. Last year, was the year of big dating for me.
Oh, honey.
And that's capital letters. The year of big dating, which I love.
That sounds terrifying, to be honest.
It's awful. I've had that year and it sucks. I expected some bizarre dates, but I was not prepared for this one. Early on in the year, I went for a beer with a guy who seemed nice. He was part of a local gay hiking group, seemed intelligent, liked reading, liked good food, so we go to grab a drink. Pretty much just after the first sip of our beers, he casually drops this one.
Uh-oh.
You know who I have a lot of respect for?
Oh, no.
Hitler.
Oh, honey. Oh, no. Oh,
wait.
no. Let me tell you. Okay. Not to make it too deep too fast, but I've been taking my brother to all of these different museums because that's what he wants to do.
Right.
And we went to the Museum of Tolerance, and let me tell you, it gave me a new kind of like, of course you always know about like how horrible all of that is, but like it gave me a new belief that's just like anybody who has any kind of like sympathy or interest in the Nazi party can like fuck
right off.
All the way
100%.
off. All the way off.
100%.
Immediately hike straight back down that mountain. You don't need to hang out with that dude.
Who the fuck are you that you think you can casually drop Hitler into a first date?
Never.
In any way. Unless
but
you're
I mean,
saying
I'd
like,
rather get it out of the way.
But
I'd rather know.
I mean, I would, but what kind of person is just like, this will be chill?
Yeah.
Like, I
exactly.
it's so weird. Yeah, like
so
I
bizarre.
overanalyze everything that comes out of my mouth. The idea, the big balls on Brad to be like, I can just say, you know who was cool?
Hitler.
Adolf. Like,
Oh my
what the fuck?
Like, and so he says, at first I thought he was about to make a joke, and I went, oh yeah? Big mistake. He started sincerely
He
lecturing
gauged your
me
reaction. Oh no.
about what a great leader Hitler was, how his policies were good for Germany and the world, how he really didn't do any evil acts. I can't remember the whole discussion because my mind was screaming with what the fuck.
Can we talk about, we just had a full conversation about like names and people who you knew in high school. Can we talk about that fucking guy at every Midwest party who was like, but you know what? Hitler was a good speaker.
Ugh.
It's like, first of all, fuck you. Why do we have to bring that up right now? Literally no one has to talk about that.
Ever needs to talk about
No one
that.
ever needs
Also,
to bring it up.
Oh, it's
Literally
my God.
ever. Like,
this makes me want to run out of my house screaming.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
I have watched so many documentaries on World War II because I'm basically a 62-year-old
Same.
man.
well, it's
Okay?
fascinating.
And
It is.
I would never bring up Hitler on a first date.
No.
And obviously
Even
not
to say
in
what a
support,
piece of shit he was.
Even to say that
Yeah.
Hitler is not a first date topic. Do we really have to spit that out on the podcast? Is that news to people? I guess it
Apparently.
fucking is because I'm like,
Sir.
So he says, I asked him what he thought of Hitler's policy to send Jewish and gay people to concentration and extermination camps. His response, Hitler didn't know about that.
Oh, honey.
It's
Okay.
supremely well documented that he did. He then tried to argue the case that society creates saints out of people like Nelson Mandela or Mother Teresa, but those people probably did just as many or more evil acts as Hitler.
Oh.
Okay. So you're sincerely comparing Nelson Mandela to motherfucking shitbag Hitler
and Mother Teresa.
and Mother Teresa.
I'm sure she did some horrible things.
No, she did actually. My brother schooled me on some stuff. I mean,
Mother
she really did, but she did.
she did
But
in the
she
name
did.
of Catholicism. She
Yeah.
did some stuff that is not so savory, but she's not Hitler.
She's not Hitler. Nobody's Hitler. Hitler is Hitler.
Hitler is Hitler. Like literally, like it's the worst. It's the name that's synonymous with like the worst human.
That's
you could
why
be.
you. That's why
Yeah.
you didn't go to school with Adolf.
Exactly.
Nobody did.
Do you know how many Adolfs there were in Germany before
He
Hitler?
eliminated a
Whole
name worldwide.
He wiped it off the map, dude.
I
It's
went
why
to school
there-
with a Teresa. I did not go to
There's
school
no
with a
fucking
Hitler.
Adolf.
Caligulas, okay?
No.
Like, there's no Neros.
You had to be so fucking bad to be able to literally eliminate an entire fucking name where no one's like, you know what would be cute? Little Adolf. Like, no.
I don't even think you're allowed to in Germany. I
No,
think that they're
you're
like
not.
straight like, nah.
No.
No.
Oh my God. He says, needless to say, there was no second date. Too long didn't read. I went on a date with a gay Nazi sympathizer.
Dude.
Wow.
Dude.
Unbelievable.
What is the internalized homophobia that exists in somebody who's just like, you know, this is fine.
Dude, and that's why I like posted that thing on
shook.
Facebook this week about like what crazy shit have your dates tried to convince you of? Like
The best
conspiracy
thread of all
theory.
time, by the way. I loved reading that thread. It was like 60 comments
Yeah.
deep of just like wild conspiracy theories that people
Wild.
believe in.
I love it.
Which
I
is-
love
I didn't
it.
see that. I was too busy this
Oh,
week.
it's
Oh my God,
bananas.
it's bananas.
It's truly banana. Like, honestly, it's, but how fast would you roll down that mountain? I would just be like, you know
I'd
what?
roll out from under him like that sex guy.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so this one is also from Reddit. Well, I ended up on a date with my cousin once.
Oh.
Noped right the fuck out after we found out. I have a very large family. My grandparents had 43 brothers and sisters combined.
What?
So like 20 on one side, 20 on the other.
Oh my
Siblings.
God.
So,
Shout out to that chick's vagina.
Wow.
Or what's left of it.
Or the dad spread his seed across multiple. That's also
Yikes.
possible.
Some bikes.
Also, quick diversion. So my family is from a very small town in New Mexico. Super small town.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was born in Indiana, and she didn't move to this town until she was a senior in high school.
Did you go on a date?
So she moved to this town, and she was like crushing hard on this guy, and they were all set up to go on a date. And she went home and told my grandma, and my grandma was like, "That's your second cousin.
Yeah,
you can't date
can't.
him."
You know.
Yeah. So she credits that because my mom is white and my dad is black. She credits that as to why she started dating people who weren't white, because she was like, "I know I'm
You're
not related."
Just to be on the safe side.
So she dated like all the Latinos in her town because she was like, I know I'm not related to you. Okay.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I have a very large family. My grandparents have 43 brothers and sisters combined. I have 20 aunts and uncles from my mom's side alone, all of which have a fuck ton of kids. I don't know 99% of them because I didn't grow up where my family is from. Moved back before college. Sounds like my mom.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I was on fall break one semester and was on Hot or Not, old school Tinder. It's like an old school app, Hot or Not, which was cruel. I remember Hot or Not. It was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like,
Terrible.
my ego
No, can't.
cannot handle it.
I'm not.
Mm-mm.
And we matched with matched with this super cute blonde. We exchanged numbers, texted a few days, and then later met up. We went to this restaurant for lunch, got to talking about family, etc., and she mentioned her mom. Weird. I have an aunt with that same name and this girl's last name. I ask about her aunt. She pulls out her phone and shows me a picture of her mom standing beside my mom.
Oh.
My asshole puckers a little and ask her who the woman beside her mom was. My mom. She says, "Oh, that's my aunt."
Oh, no.
I pull my phone out and show her a picture of me and my mom, and her face is pale as a ghost. We both kind of freak out and went our separate ways.
Yep.
You just
Yep.
don't talk about it.
Yep.
You just walk away.
Yeah.
So,
you're like,
okay, I'll see you at the family reunion.
We're super close now, though, and we talk about it from time to time and laugh our asses off. She got married a year or so ago, and the best man, her brother, brought it up when the pastor
No.
said, "Does anyone object
No.
to the wedding?"
No, that's not when. That's not when you do that.
We got a kick out of it. I don't think I would.
No.
If any of y'all pull that joke shit
Nope.
at my wedding, I will lose my shit.
Girl,
line in the sand.
No.
There we go.
girl. It won't happen. I
Big
guarantee.
yikes.
At least they had that fucking conversation before anything physical had happened.
Imagine if you accidentally fucked your cousin.
I can't. I don't want to. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Not
at
good.
all.
Hashtag adopted. Still gross. All right. Sorry. All right. So my story comes from an email that we got. And she says, "Hey girls, I've been studying in the States and now am on my way back to Norway. I found your podcast from a recommendation from a woman in the airport who I struck
Spread
up
the
a
good word.
conversation with on my first layover."
Spread the good word in Norway. Do it.
That is fucking random. So a stranger in an airport.
No. And also, it wasn't me because I feel like I'd remember this conversation, even though I travel a lot, that I would remember if I recommended my podcast to somebody in an airport. I need to know who this person is. Fucking tell us immediately.
Did you add her on Facebook
I
or
need
him?
to. Yes,
Let
I
us
need
know.
to know.
That's amazing.
After our plane had been delayed, so after our plane had been delayed, I'd started binging every episode and love it. I love it. I am now on my second long layover because my first one can't cause me to miss my flight and have decided that I need to write in a story.
Oh, that's amazing. It's like a real time.
I
Brand
love
new
it.
listener. I love it.
All right. English is not my first language, though I am fluent, but some of the things I have a hard time translating, so I apologize for anything that sounds wrong. I gotta be honest.
Girl, you're fucking killing it
already
so far.
winning. You're already killing it.
Yeah.
So I met this guy. We can call him John at a local town gathering. He was nice, sweet, and attractive. He was my type. He was the type of guy who knew he was attractive and acted like
I hate that.
everyone loved him because
Don't
of
like it.
Mm-mm.
Which I agree is off-putting, but he really was a nice guy. We went on a few dates, and on the first one, I informed him that I have a condition that causes me to have seizures. It's not a full body seizure, but basically I sit down and look like I'm staring into space and my face twitches, but I'm still half aware of what's going on. I rarely get them, but on the off chance that I did, I wanted him to know that what was going on. He was very sympathetic and sweet about it. Fast forward a few weeks, I'm starting to get over how pretentious he is about his looks. The longer we dated, the more charm wore off. But I'm still decided that I should have sex with him anyway, just wanting to see if he's all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
hear
an
you.
experiment.
Yeah.
So I take him back to my house.
It's for
We're
science.
Exactly. I'm like, go ahead and lay yourself down.
Yeah.
Like, let us know.
It's
Report
for
back.
Science. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science, bitch. Let's do it.
So I take him back to my house. We're making out, and I will admit he's a great kisser.
Ooh.
Things are getting heated, and I'm down to my underwear and a tank top, and he's got his boxers on. At this point, I know I'm about to get a seizure. I push him off of me.
Oh, no.
My facial compulsions run their course of it for approximately a minute or so. When I come to, I was feeling very embarrassed and vulnerable, and I said, "I'm so sorry about that. Couldn't have been worse timing." He says, "It's okay. There's no wrong time for your body to do what's going to do."
Okay. Points to him.
Yeah. Thinking he's being sympathetic and trying to make me feel better, I force a smile and I reach for my shirt. Then he continues, "I'm actually quite proud. I mean, I make girls scream, but I've never gotten a reaction like that before, especially even before intercourse."
Oh, this
I
motherfucker thought that he made her come. Oh my
What
God.
a trash person.
I stop in my tracks. Wait, what do you think just happened? The man literally thought he gave me a massive orgasm.
Fuck you.
Without ever being inside me.
Oh my God. Can we?
It's okay. You
can
can't
we-
stop your body from doing what it's going to do. It's fine.
Can we blame fucking porn for this
Oh.
shit?
Oh, fuck you.
100%.
Oh my God.
This hashtag fake news all fucking day. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I informed him of what actually happened, and now I was no longer the embarrassed one. He had forgotten that I told him about my condition.
Of course he did, because he's self-centered as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's like, I made this bitch come just from standing in my boxer.
Ew.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
a trash
God.
panda.
I was now beat red, or he was now a beat red and apologizing for being so stupid. I told him it was okay, but it should teach him a lesson about being full of himself. I left after that and didn't hear from him again. A year or so later, I went out with a friend and her boyfriend. He was talking about his roommate and how he never shuts up about the girl that he fucked so hard he gave her a seizure.
Fuck you. You absolute walnut. Oh my God.
I asked to see a picture of his friend, and yup, same guy. I set the record straight with him.
Yes.
And know that it gave John a hard time about it. I've had the necessary surgeries and no longer have an issue with this, but it's still a hilarious story to tell. I hope you will get an influx of listeners from Norway, because I will absolutely be telling friends about your podcast.
Yes.
Thanks
I
for
would
all
like
the laughs.
nothing more than to come to Norway.
Can I tell you,
there would be nothing more exciting for me.
A shit ton of Norwegian tourists that would come to Miami when I lived there, and they were by far the nicest, most considerate, amazing people that came into, like, when I was working at the tattoo shop. They were just I would go to Norway 100.
When I first moved to LA, I had a friend from Sweden and a friend from Norway, both the sweetest, most genuine human beings I've ever fucking met. They're so wonderful. I would love to do Norway, Sweden. Great people. Like everyone I've ever met from there, great people.
Can you? I have to say, like, public service announcement, because I don't feel like this is 100% men's fault in thinking that they are orgasm gods. Women, don't fake it.
Stop lying.
Stop lying.
Stop lying, yo.
Stop lying, because
I never
then
have. I am not a good liar.
Then I have to fuck that person.
You guys, I'm a people pleaser. I can't help it.
Keegan,
I'm sorry. I'm ruining it for everybody.
You are.
I am not a good liar. If I don't come, you're going to know
You
about
are
it.
not going to give me a fucking seizure, okay? Like, sorry.
We just talked about in the mini about, like, how, like, we don't even cry. Like, I've never had dick so good that I've been in tears. So you're not going to give me a fucking seizure. Like, you're not going to.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
And anyone that tells you that they are, it's a lie.
They lying.
It's a lie.
Well, I wanted to bring this up really quickly
before you even put it in.
Oh, I know.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
You're not that hot, honey.
Look, I'm easy, and I'm not that easy.
It's not like looking into the sun. You're not that hot. Like, calm the fuck down. I did want to bring this up before you do your story. We got an email from a listener who sent us a story that was and I've had it for a while, so I want to address it so she knows she's not being forgotten. But it was a friend of a friend kind of story.
Yeah.
And it was the story of, like, I had this friend who went on a date who, like, felt sick after eating food.
Yeah.
And found this guy masturbating after she had
poop
diarrhea.
story.
The poop story.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring it up. We did get your email. Thank you so much for writing in. I think that's a creepypasta kind of thing, because we've gotten it a few times now.
Oh, got
from
it.
different people. I think we told that story.
We have told that story. Yeah, because remember we even talked about how it might be a creepypasta.
Right, because we'd heard it a couple of times.
Yes.
So it is a banana story. I get why people keep writing it into us, but I did want to, like, just address it and point it out. Yeah.
I'm still, like, shook by the chick that shit in the cat box.
Oh my
And then
God.
The guy's cat was dead.
It was the sound. It was you can listen to the voicemail, and it's the embarrassment that is coming through that voicemail.
I think I still have listened to that, I think, once a week.
We've all been
in
there.
my purview, because it's so funny.
We've
to
not
me.
been there, but the sound of embarrassment.
The panic.
We've all been there, where there was just like,
oh my God,
can you come pick me up?
Can you get him in the bathroom? Shut the door, please.
Okay, so speaking of catfishing and embarrassment and just wild fucking stories, I know that both of you know this story, because
I'm so excited.
We're going to do this for our live show.
Oh my God.
And I picked it back up again because I made Eric listen to it on the way to Bakersfield, because I was like, I just really want to tell this story. It's fucking bananas to me. This is from a case file titled Mark and John.
Nice.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm sure I just blew the fucking speakers out, but this is I think about this.
The banana.
I think about this story so much.
Sometimes when I'm in the shower, you know how you have like deep shower thoughts? There have been times when I'm just like leaning against the wall in the shower, water dripping over me, thinking about this story. Like I'm just like, it is so
It's bananas. It's the most bananas
so good.
story.
And
Okay.
yes, we know it, but I bet there's a lot of listeners
I bet there's
who
a
don't
lot
know it.
of listeners that don't because I listened to the case file again, obviously, and then there's a really good in-depth article on Vanity Fair as well. But British court systems put a gag order on this story. So beyond
they're
that,
minors, so you can't
they're
reveal their
minors.
actual names.
So Mark and John are not their actual names. I did do some deep digging, and I do know what their actual names are.
not gonna out
However,
them
I'm
on
not
here.
going to out them. Exactly.
Good call.
So we'll just get into it. But later, I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Because I found like the first article of like when the sitch actually went down. Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to take you guys back to 2003.
All right, what does 2003 look like? What was everybody rocking?
2003 looks like for me, I had just joined Shadow actually. So I was kind of out of the normal like everyday life kind
Sure.
of thing.
Bootcut
However,
jeans.
internet was really just starting to fire up.
Yep.
It was the year of like chat rooms.
Yes.
MSN Messenger especially big time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, MSN Messenger was huge. Let me tell you, I think I can remember exactly what 2003.
AIM.
I was 13. I was in high school. It was my freshman year of high school.
Yes.
High school just started for me because I turned 14.
girl.
Wow.
Yeah, same.
Freshman year. But I can tell you probably exactly what I looked like, okay? I was suppressing my curls, so I was brushing my hair straight across my forehead like a scene kid. Side part, bang
Nice.
situation. And I was wearing a Hello Kitty shirt that I got at Hot Topic.
Yep. Oh, hot topic all day.
Hot pink Dickies
Yes.
capris. Yes. With black and pink fluorescent tights underneath.
Yep.
And high top Converse
Damn, girl.
that I drew on. I drew
Damn,
checkerboard print
yes.
on my high top Converse.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's what
Okay.
2003 was looking like over here.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to go put in My Chemical Romance
Oh my god.
CD right now.
Okay.
So,
Anyway,
okay.
Sorry.
So
2003. We're back.
broadband had just started entering homes where it was like if you were online,
beep 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 boop boop.
it wasn't going to tie up your phone line.
That's
So
right.
like chat rooms became like this huge thing that so many teenagers were doing.
I was obsessed with chat rooms to a degree that I'm like, my parents should have stepped in. They had no idea,
Like,
but like in dangerous.
Honestly, like I feel like
Danger,
I'm telling
danger.
a story about Keegan. Honestly,
Someone called me a twat on a chat whenever I was like 15, and I had
What?
no idea what that meant, and I had to like go and tell my mom. Like, and she was up like pearl clutched so hard by the word twat.
Her pearls broke. She
Yeah,
was like,
Hor- she broke a glass in her hand.
Yeah.
She was so concerned.
so Mark was 16, a very tall, athletic, only child in a middle class family. Both of his parents married. He's the only kid. They had bought him this computer just a few months previously to help him with his homework because he was an average student. He was pretty popular. He was kind of like, he was just like everybody liked him. He was like the nice guy. He was Mark.
But time out. 2003. No kid needs their own computer in 2003.
Yeah,
Like
no, they
everyone had a family computer in 2003.
they got him
You
his
shouldn't have your
his
own.
because
Yeah,
they wanted
danger.
to help him.
fancy.
Yeah. So in February in 2003, Mark had actually started finding this Manchester teen chat room, specifically for Manchester teens. So
The accents happening in that chat room were beautiful.
Oh, I know. Everybody that was in it had to be a Manchester teen.
That's right.
To be in it.
Of course.
It's super verified,
Super.
right?
Yeah, they made you actually enter your zip code.
Yeah.
You had to
All of that.
prove,
You had to promise with your hand up.
proof of residency.
I swear that I'm legitimately a 16-year-old hot chick from Manchester.
It's like getting your license, right? You have to bring
Exactly.
like 2 forms of identification.
Right, exactly like that, except none of it at all.
Exactly.
Like you literally
Not at
just
all
had
like
an
that.
email address. So he logs in February and he likes to talk. He's like 16. He doesn't he's popular with girls, but he gets like really nervous talking to them. So, but he's better online.
Of course.
He's like,
Weren't
he
we
feels
all?
braver. And so like his big thing was like whenever a new girl would enter the Manchester teen chat room, he'd be like, hi, ASL, age, sex, location.
My heart, because do you remember what that felt like? It was just like whenever like somebody would, the way your heart would like skip a beat when somebody who you were like a chat buddy with would
the
enter
chat
and you'd
room.
hear the door open on AOL.
Yes.
It was so like exciting.
Yeah.
I miss that. Nothing makes me feel alive anymore. And so like being a teenager, that stuff made you feel like so alive.
Oh, and it's so important.
real.
Yeah. So this is a big deal. Like this user enters the chat room in February. Her name's Rachel_West. And so Mark like brushes up the courage and like you can click on them. Like you had the main chat room, which I mean, I know I remember, but I'm explaining it for my listeners. Like you have the main chat room where like all the din and the noise were, but you can click on someone's name and then you can initiate a whisper.
Do you remember getting private chats? Like you'd be in the main chat and then you'd get that like ding and somebody wants to talk to you one-on-one.
One-on-one.
And you'd have multiple chats going on.
Yes.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
So he works up the courage and he like starts a private message with her, and she's 16 years old, beautiful blonde in Manchester, works at like a local gym, and he cannot believe his luck.
Red
And
flag.
neither can we. So like they start messaging back and forth, and he's like surprised at how promiscuous like he's able to get with her. And like he has a webcam, which I'm like, okay, like I get like your parents bought you a computer for homework, but why would they get you like
These
a webcam
parents,
too?
like my parents, our family computer was in a public place. Look, if I was having a private conversation
no
on
private
AIM,
conversation.
it was like how fast you had a trigger finger of like how fast could you minimize that window.
Oh, amen.
Okay, like there was I did not have a private
privacy.
webcam.
Yeah, it's not in your room, certainly.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So anyways, he has a webcam, but like for whatever reason, like hers isn't working or she doesn't feel comfortable or whatever.
We've all seen catfish. We know what happens if they're like, I don't know, for whatever reason, they can't video chat me.
Can't work.
It doesn't work. Exactly. But like, of course, like things get like a little sexual and like he ends up like stripping for her in front of the thing. He is people described him later like he's one of those kids like at 16. Did you ever have that guy or date that guy that fell in love like immediately?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And then like they would break up with the one girl and then they'd like fall in love 2 days later with someone else.
But
He's
I feel
that
like
guy.
I really do feel. How old is he?
16.
Oh, 16.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a
I was
baby.
going to say, I
He's
feel
a
like
baby.
I feel like 14, 15, that was everyone. Like nobody knew how relationships were supposed to work.
Right.
And everybody was like, this must be what love is. Like as soon as you felt like attracted to somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So days later, like her little stepbrother, Rachel's stepbrother, John, enters the chat room. Now, John is 14 years old. And so he starts talking with Mark too, and he gets to know about their family. John's family was upper middle class. Both Rachel and John attended private school. John's parents split when he was 7, and later he found a birth certificate showing that the man he believed to be his dad actually wasn't. His mom went through a string of relationships and finally married a plumber after a string of men. John did not get along with his stepfather.
That's tough too. It's tough whenever you find out something about your life that you didn't know. That's why I always encourage people to be like upfront.
My parents
about
were
stuff
always
like that.
honest with me about the fact that my stepdad is not really my dad, and I'm grateful for that because I do feel
Always
like
knew.
yeah,
You have
feel
to
like
do
that's
what
a better way.
you have to do what you have to do, and I understand people cope in different ways. But I've had people ask me their advice about things like that, and I'm always like, a kid's not an idiot. You should tell a child the truth.
And I
Honesty
think
is the best policy in those cases.
Yeah.
you build an identity a certain way.
Absolutely.
And like we talked about that, I don't know if it's on this or on the shorty or whatever, but like your identity of who you are is a building brick of a lot of different things, like what you do, who you're with, or whatever. I think like who your parents are is a big part of your identity.
It's huge,
especially
and it can
when you're
be
younger.
shattered so easily. So yeah, I think knowing as much as you can from the jump is a good idea.
I think we've all three of us have such unique when it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, John,
Not to sidetrack us.
No, it's true though. It's true, and we don't have to get into specifics,
Yeah.
but it is good for listeners to know that like we have very unique backstories
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
have to do with that like we're coming from a place of if you're considering being deceptive towards your child, I would advise against it.
Yeah.
You
We know.
I can
We know.
speak from authority.
yeah. But John was like the opposite of Mark, whereas Mark was just kind of like an everyday, like average student, like just genial. People liked him. John was made fun of a lot. He was small and slight, and a lot of kids picked on him, calling him gay, or they called him Packy because he had kind of olive skin, which is just terrible and awful. And so he had this thing where he always felt like in the Vanity Fair, they talk about it, where he always felt like whenever he came into a room, people were talking about him. And whenever he left, he would have this massive anxiety that people were constantly making fun of him. And at 14, I'm just like,
Heartbreaking.
I actually felt like a spike of anxiety like in my chest right now because like I remember that so vividly. It makes me want to cry because like when you're 14, when you're 15, like when you're that age,
and when you look kind of different.
when you look
and-
different, I
yeah.
looked different in school for sure. And so you do have this like insecurity. Your insecurity is at its peak. Your
Yeah.
anxiety, if you have it, is at its peak.
Yeah.
Ugh, it just breaks
And
my
you're
heart.
also like as a teen, like a little bit like narcissistic where you do think,
think
people are
everyone is
constantly
thinking and talking about you all the
Yeah.
time.
Shit,
Yes.
I told you about
Yeah, you did.
my shame receipt.
Yes.
Just assume everybody's talking about you.
Yeah, and
Oof.
people aren't. But
No one is
you don't-
ever
you
thinking
don't-
about you as much as you think they are.
You don't
True.
know
Yeah.
that at 14.
You do not.
You
No.
don't. You don't.
Apparently, you don't know it at 20 either.
So the
20's
boys,
still a baby.
the boys like ended up like having their own private chats and stuff, and they bonded over girls, soccer, and the movie Catch Me If You Can.
Great book.
They would hang out over webcam, and they would like game and stuff and talk about it. But John started realizing that Mark was talking to him mostly about Rachel because he fell in love with her. So Mark was pushing to finally meet in real life. Like he was like, him and Rachel have been talking for weeks now, and they've been like getting sexual and stuff. And Mark wanted to meet her.
Let
in
me tell
real
you.
life.
Any brother who is willing to sit and listen to you talk about his sister like that, there's something wrong.
I was just
That's-
gonna
that
say
shit's
that.
not
Crimson
normal.
flag. Really weird.
Yeah, it's
so
not
red, it's
normal.
crimson.
Yeah, if he's willing to allow you to sit and just go on and on,
About sister.
without being like, ooh, you, dude, that's my sister. At
Yeah.
least once,
yeah,
there's an issue.
yeah,
I have 3 brothers.
yeah. So okay, shortly after like all this stuff goes down, it's like April of 2003. So all this stuff starts in February. It's only been a couple months. There's a new user who enters the chat room. His name is Kevin McGregor, and he writes in all pink. Which
Okay.
I remember you could change the
Yes,
color of
and
your
you could
font.
change the font.
and
You
the
could do like Comic Sans if you wanted.
Yeah. So Kevin McGregor bursts onto the scene, and he says he writes in all pink font because he's a gay guy with a foot fetish who is also a stalker.
That's a lot.
That's a bio.
Coming in real hot. You're coming in soups hot,
Soup's
dude.
hot.
Like, I need you to chill.
Real hot. John and Rachel were actually really scared of him. Mark became scared too when Kevin begins taunting Mark with inside info that he could only know if he was actually stalking John and Rachel. So Mark's like, don't worry about him. He's because everyone else in the chat room is like, dude, this guy, like,
The fuck outta
whatever,
here.
get out of here. But like John and Rachel are like, oh my gosh, he's actually stalking us. Mark's like, don't worry, I'm sure that's not true. Kevin's like, no, I'm really stalking them in pink font. And Mark's like, oh my gosh, well, I have to protect my girlfriend and her little brother. So Kevin's like, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to strip down in front of your webcam and jerk off, or I'm going to kidnap and murder Rachel.
That's not how this works.
But devil's advocate, teenager.
I have a lot to say.
Teenagers are dumb. Like, and no shade to anybody who's a teenager.
It's all fresh and new.
It's the internet is new. Chat rooms are new, and also
this is baby internet.
It's baby internet. I believed in so much dumb shit that like people told me on the internet back then. I really did. I really did.
Come see my puppy.
Do you know how fast I would run to a van?
A puppy van?
A kitten van?
I'd do that right now.
Are you kidding me?
Current state. I'm 41
29.
years old.
Yeah.
Would go.
If somebody was like, there was a
Don't give the serial killers ideas.
Oh. There was a whole tweet thread about a woman who was like, I was playing with this woman's dog. And then the woman was like, oh, she just had kittens. Do you want to see? I have them in my car. And I went to her fucking car. And she's like, do you know how fast Ted Bundy would have kidnapped my ass? And I'm like, same. If somebody showed me a kitten and they were like, there's more of
Arenos, because I remember seeing
I think
that
someone
too.
did share that.
Man.
If someone showed me a kitten and they were like, there's more of these kittens in my car, I would be like, show me the kittens.
But
where's your car?
Here's the thing.
I'm on my way.
Somebody in pink font on Messenger tells you, jerk off on webcam for me or I'm going to kidnap your girlfriend. I mean, I
think I'd get my parents involved is what I would have done.
I feel like I would have 911. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would have
told my parents.
I would have believed it.
Yes.
But I would have
100% would have believed it.
Yes.
100% would have gone to my mom and said, I'm scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor Mark does not do that. He actually goes through, and it's actually heartbreaking. They have like the text back and forth between him and Rachel where he like tells her he's going to do this for her. And she's like, you don't have to. And he's like, no, I do. And that's when she finally says that she loves him. And so he goes through with it.
Baby.
So shortly, like during that conversation, they make plans to actually meet up in real life because Mark is going to jerk off on webcam for this gay guy with a foot fetish.
It's not funny, but it's like,
so
I know. I can't.
I know. I'm gonna spoiler alert this for everybody because we can laugh and be silly about this because nobody actually dies. So feel free to
it's
laugh.
Not a murder.
It's not a murder. You can laugh as much as you want. I mean, it's still terrible.
It's terrible.
It is terrible, but it's nobody died. So we
did
can.
You die?
But did you die? Exactly. So Mark finally gets to meet her. He travels 40 minutes by bus to this really nice place in England called Aldringham. He goes to this like really like hip place where there's all these shops and everything like that. And of course, she doesn't show. He waits there for hours and hours. Rachel never shows.
I have to say, catfishing makes me sad because it preys on our most desperate beliefs of like our longing for this like love and closeness. And because you have to be willfully susceptible to it. Like you have to decide that like your want to believe is so strong.
And we're talking too about a time frame where I'm like, okay, February to April is like one thing, but these kids were logging on at 4 p.m. when they got back from school and staying online till like 3-4 in the morning. So you're talking 12 hours a day for like 4 months.
That's how I chatted. I mean, and you feel, I can remember to this day, I wish I could remember his name. I bet I could do some deep digging and find it. But I had a chat buddy who was from Liverpool, who I had on Facebook and everything. And I spent all day, every day from the time I was like 15 to 16, like talking to this person.
I met a guy on a cruise and we talked on AIM all the fucking time.
And you feel like you know
and
them.
And then ended up going to Jacksonville, Florida to go visit and hang out with him.
Yep. Yeah. And it was a different... Cassie is making some very lewd.
Yes. But that's the thing. That's like old timey. I feel like that's those whole like Civil War letters and stuff.
It's
like
frozen.
letters.
It is for us. It is.
It is.
And it's frozen in time. It's like people before won't understand it and people after won't understand it. But there was people in this like 10-year gap on
Not
one
even.
side or the other.
I don't think it was 7 years. I think it was probably a 5-year
like
gap.
fives. Yeah.
Who were involved in this, like who, you know,
And that's why we're zennials.
and we didn't understand the harm
Yeah.
that it could do, and we didn't understand how deeply you could be involved, and our
Right.
parents certainly didn't understand.
nobody.
Oh, no.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so my heart, it hurts.
I know. So she didn't show, and then like he gets back and he checks like to see if he has any messages from her, anything like that. He doesn't. But he does have an email from Kevin McGregor who says that he had thanks for the jerk off stuff, but
Thanks for the jerk off. Have fun.
but he has kidnapped, gang raped, and murdered Rachel.
Gang raped.
Yeah. And goes into detail about all the stuff that he has done to Rachel, including like holding her head under ice cold water.
Jesus
And
Christ.
he says, she screamed for you. And Mark literally broke. He mourns this death big time. He just like, he had already been getting like B's and C's. Like he was like a decent, okay student. They immediately go to F's. Like within a month, he's flunking this grade.
He
So
thinks that somebody died because...
And it's so easy to look at it and think like, this is so dumb that you believed this. But I think back
Also,
to myself.
why didn't he tell his parents?
I don't know. I would have
anybody?
told. I would have told someone if I hadn't told my parents, which maybe I wouldn't have because I never wanted to disappoint my parents and never
Right.
wanted them thinking I was involved in anything unsavory. But I would have told my friend.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what I think of the most.
That's
and
what
I feel
friends
like
are for.
yeah.
that's what when I read this story and when I listen to the story, I'm like, I am so thankful for the relationship that I have with my parents, with my friends, and that like I never felt like I had to shoulder something that I felt like was that fucking big on my own. And I just feel so grateful for the people in my life because of that. Like if something that happened that was so fucking big that he starts flunking out of school and stops eating and is just so like he didn't feel like he had anyone that he could talk
Right.
to.
I get it in the beginning because, again, I mean, I've said it so many times on this podcast. I have the most amazing family and most amazing parents, but I didn't want to disappoint them to
Right.
the point that there is a possibility that if I had to admit that I jerked off on camera to them, that I wouldn't tell them that.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have told somebody.
Right.
I had people
Yeah.
in my life who I would
Yeah.
have told.
You have that best friend who knows everything. This is
Yeah.
a similar
Right,
heavy
and-
episode, but
and-
Sarah would have known immediately. I would have been, oh my God, you won't believe this. It's crazy.
And if I hadn't told my family or my mom the details, I would have made up something to tell her.
mean,
Like
this is a
I would have
murder.
made it. I would have made a
kidnapping
clean,
and a
right.
murder.
I would have made a cleaner version that I
Right.
would have told her just so she knew.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So he ends up finding solace in his friend John, who is also grieving the loss of his sister. And they spend a lot of time together and kind of grieve together. And it's not long after this, though, that a new user enters the Manchester teen chat room, Lindsay East.
Listen, Lindsay.
What was the other name? Rachel.
Rachel West.
Of course.
Thank you.
Jesus
Thank you for
Christ.
double checking on that.
I was like East and West, honey.
Honey.
You gotta try harder.
Yes. So, I mean, Mark rebounds and falls in love again, and they get real
love.
sexual real quick.
Well, he's had a taste now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, let me tell you about Lindsay. Lindsay was a junior Secret Service agent for MI6.
Could you join that? Just like the Cub Scouts, you can just be like, "I'm a junior MI6 agent. I'm 16."
Also, do you tell people in a chat room that that's what you do?
No.
It's in your
no.
bio. Actually, you're like Aquarius, fucking
MI6
pet
agent.
lover, MI6 agent, junior MI6
God
agent.
lover.
Yeah, exactly. Wanderlust.
Stan.
You put Wanderlust hashtag.
She had actually joined the chat because John was under protection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because he's being targeted by mastermind Kevin McGregor.
Sorry.
She wanted Mark's help, which is why she joined and why she reached out to him.
Yes, because
So
you reach
And
out
blew
to
her cover.
the clear choice is to reach out to a 16-year-old.
They go hot and heavy. Mark is like completely in love with her. Days later, she's killed in action.
Can I give a shame receipt though?
Yes.
TBH.
Okay.
On MySpace.
Yes.
I thought that I had found this is the most embarrassing thing.
I love it. I love it.
I thought that I had found Rupert Grint's MySpace page. Who is Ron?
I need wine. I need wine. We know who Rupert Grint is, and
Ron
baby,
from Harry Potter.
You're
so
mixing, just so you know.
so excited about this story,
And we
that I can't.
messaged privately back and forth for a while. Like, honestly, like
no.
a few months.
You thought you were dating Rupert
Oh,
Grint.
yeah.
Baby
I was like,
angel.
I'm going to marry, it's going to be Keegan Grant. I'm going to marry Rupert. I for sure was like, yeah, that's him. He says it's him. It's
Why
him.
would you lie?
And why? Yeah, I was like that idea. It was the first time, now we have Instagram and Twitter where like you can follow celebrities, right? But MySpace was new and kind of like it could be or it might not be, right? Like you didn't know because there were celebrities who had MySpace pages and you could follow
Yes.
them. And so I legit thought like this is
Wait, but what if it was?
Rupert Grint.
it
If you're
could have
listening,
been, if you're listening, if
Rupert.
anyone we know knows him, please pass along this information. I
Here's a
need
note for
answers. I need. Do you know how much my mind would be blown if it's like, oh, he's like, yeah, no, that was me for sure.
that would be the best fucking story of all time.
No, but I mean that should go to tell you how susceptible people at this age
No, I
were.
get it.
It was just like we were like, yeah, like of course I'm having a
Listen.
full on several month relationship with Ron Weasley.
fucking can't right now with this shit. I fucking love it. Okay. So days later, she's killed. Okay. But she had post-dated. She had thought ahead because she was a junior Secret Service agent.
Yeah, smart.
And she had post-dated an email to be sent in case
Right.
she had, met her untimely demise. So her email told Mark that he must protect John no matter what. Then, right after that, Rachel reappears.
Honey, she was dead.
Rachel, you dead.
Rachel was dead. No, she says not dead, in a coma.
Did he get his script from Days of Our Lives?
In a
'Cause
coma.
I think I've seen this before.
And so this is all happening in April 2003. All this shit started in February 2003. Okay.
Oh my god!
So not only was she in a coma, but actually during the coma, she had Mark's baby. Do the math on that.
This is a General Hospital episode.
Also realized that they had never actually met.
I
Wait.
am confused.
Wait.
What?
What?
Wait. So she was in a coma and she had.
So his first girlfriend had been kidnapped by the nefarious Kevin McGregor.
Yes.
And not killed. Thought she was dead.
Any
but she
relation
was
to
actually in
Connor?
a coma.
Are they his older brother?
But wait. So then,
right.
but wait. During her coma, she had a baby
She had a baby by Mark.
who she's never met
Right.
physically ever.
Correct. Never met in person. So, but then she disappears shortly after that. So Mark is bereft. Okay.
Because he's lost his now girlfriend.
He's lost both
And
girlfriends.
a baby.
You lost
In
the East and the West.
very extreme situations,
And
if
a
I'm
baby.
honest. Like how many people actually have to go and a baby.
Grieving an
apparently.
infant.
Yeah.
He's a child
Yeah.
that he didn't even have to be there for.
So now enters Janet
South.
Dobinson.
Yes. Oh my god, I forgot about this. Fantastic. Continue.
Janet Dobinson comes in hot. She is, as she describes herself, in her 40s, married, but still very sexy.
Also how I describe myself.
And no woman in their 40s is like, I'm still very sexy.
I'm like,
Bitch,
okay.
please, I am still very sexy.
Yeah, but you
Shut the
wouldn't.
fuck up.
You would never say it like that, though.
Oh, should I
She
change
comes-
my
she comes-
profile?
she
yeah,
comes
you should.
in
Your
hot.
bio.
She comes in hot. She's looking for somebody special. She is
And this, and it, wait.
in Manchester teen chat room
She,
Why is she in the teen chat room? I have
because
questions.
because she is also MI6, but she is a senior agent. She is the number 3 MI6 agent in the country.
it goes,
003?
it goes 007.
Yeah.
It goes, wow.
Somebody else, and then Janet.
Yeah, Janet on.
Mrs. Dobinson,
Some random.
number 3.
Mrs. Dobson.
Oh, no.
So her cover was that she was a real estate agent,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a secret to tell a very special person.
And she came to the teen chat room
yes,
She's like, you know who needs this information? A 16-year-old.
from Manchester. The specific.
look, look. I'm not trying to be shitty
this is
to
why
any
this-
teenagers.
this
but
fucking episode makes me laugh so hard.
I truly have to say, I'm not being shitty.
No
I'm
one's
not
looking
being
for
shitty,
you.
But
You're not
literally
special.
not at all. Like, no person past the age of 25, unless they're an absolute creep piece of shit,
wants to talk to you.
is looking in a teen chat for anything.
Right.
Like, they're not.
No.
They
I think
just
25
aren't.
is even aggressive. I think like
Yeah.
22.
Two.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yes.
max.
Yes. I'm just saying. I'm like, no 40-year-old woman is like, you know where I need to find companionship?
a Manchester teen chat room.
Literally right now.
Unless something's
Don't
truly
need it.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And steer fucking
And then run
clear.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So she has a secret. She had to tell Mark that he was being tested. He was being tested to see if he could be in the MI6. And if he passed this test,
not how
he
any of
would
this
receive
works.
millions of pounds and he would meet the Queen and Tony Blair. His mission, should he choose to accept it, was to guard James Bell. Who is James Bell? Why does he need to be guarded?
I don't know, but it sounds like a made-up name.
Okay. So there is a huge safe filled with jewels worth 568 billion pounds at the bottom of the ocean. And only the
Baby.
Queen has the code and James Bell. There are loads more reasons, but she can't get into
I'm sorry.
them right
Is this
now.
is this a hint on Carmen Sandiego? Because that's what it sounds like.
Bell, James Bell.
Spoiler alert, James Bell is the alias for none other than Mark's friend, John.
No.
Bum bum bum.
The plot thickens.
Now, this seems like a perfect mission. Mark's like, oh my God, shut up. I already hang out with John all
Shut
the time.
The front
Wait,
door.
this sounds like a made up story across the board. All of it. Like this whole thing.
No, I know.
Sounds
I
like
know.
you're
It's
reading
not
us a
though. It's
novelization.
not. That's the thing. Is it happened.
So he's like, oh my God, I hang out with John all the time. This is great. So
Good
they
news.
start hanging out literally like every day. And so then their moms start getting concerned because they're like, wait, so who is
They're hanging out IRL.
IRL?
Okay.
They're hanging out in real life. So the moms meet and they're like, okay, you come from a respectable family. I guess this is okay. This is better than them being on their computers. So this is fine, I guess. So Janet says MI6 was always watching them. And she would literally like, he would get home from hanging out with John and Janet would be like, I saw you guys today playing soccer. You're doing so good on your mission. Like stuff like
Does
that.
this make you nervous? Like, you know, I guess, Cassie, you've had a teenager. I haven't had kids, but I think I want kids at some point. It's scary to me to think of what teenagers are capable of believing.
Oh my
Because
God. The
you are
fucking
so
shit I did it
of
as
course,
a teenager.
because you're completely narcissistic.
I would
But-
like to think that Dylan grew up in an age that was a little post this, where
Yeah.
it was like people were a little bit more like.
But you know
uber
what?
Cautious.
I don't think it's like a time period. I think that there is like something developmentally about being like 13 to 17 where you just think
Yeah.
everything is about you and everyone is thinking about you.
Sure.
Dude,
Wow.
teenagers are dumb.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me was getting pregnant at 18.
For some people, it is.
And
I have a
having
friend like that
baby at
too.
18.
Yeah,
Because
gave her direction. She grew
Yep.
up super
Moved
fast.
right the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like deuces, brah.
So, like, his next mission was that he had to help John skip school, which, of course, they got caught at. And their moms went online to try to find out more. And they found the Janet messages. And they were like, we don't know who this fucking Janet is, but she's trouble because they're moms. And they're like, what
These
fucking
poor
40-year-old
These poor
is getting in a
moms.
Manchester
Imagine
teen chat room?
if that's
Yep.
you. Like, God, the idea
Girl,
of being
911. That's
yeah,
what.
the
That's
idea
what.
of being a parent is so scary because
Right.
it's just like, how do you protect your kids? And in this time, whenever all that shit was so new, it's like, how do you protect your kids?
Listen, you can't, and you just got to do the best you can
Yeah.
with the resources that you have. That's
I
what.
feel,
That's all there is to
I
it.
feel like you have to do the best you can to create a relationship with your
Yeah.
kid where
Where
they
they
feel
wanna talk to you.
comfortable talking to you.
Agree.
Because they're gonna do crazy shit. We all do crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I do crazy shit at 38.
Same.
I do crazy shit all the fucking time. But the goal is to create a relationship where you can be like, I'm thinking of doing this crazy shit and having the ability
Dialogue.
to have that conversation. I feel like that makes you successful as a parent. I don't
Yeah,
fucking know.
same.
I don't have kids. But
I know.
them's my 2 cents.
Agree.
So, okay. His next mission after this, because of course they ignore their parents and they get around all the safeguards and blah, blah, blah. His next mission is that he needs to make John look gay by performing a sex act on him.
What?
To get into MI6.
What member of
Mission
MI6
goddamn
is like,
impossible
this is
right
what you
here.
need to do? Like, no one.
Mission fucking impossible right here. I feel like, oh my, thank God he. Oh,
It's so, I'm like, baby angel, like, come on. Really? Really? But I mean, this is how, like, I feel like
Look, if
over
Rupert Grint had
time,
told me to do it.
over time, and I feel like if you are literally being groomed and drawn into something like this over time, it's
so
kind of
easy
gaslighty,
to believe.
you know?
Actually, that woman, that bitch who called me a twat on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, I am dating Rupert Grint, and she's like, you fucking twat. No, you're not.
No,
And you're like,
I would be way more
Mom?
understanding if that was the case. Here was the situation. Oh my God, this ties in so well with our whole episode. I'm sorry, I know we're running long. I'm sure we are, but I was friends with a guy named Matt.
fucking Matt.
And
All right.
he was dating a girl named Haley
Mm-hmm.
via instant messenger.
Okay.
And she was a beautiful, of course.
Yes, of course.
And so I talked to Matt all day on instant messenger, and eventually he introduced me to Haley. So I was talking to Matt and Haley on instant messenger all the time, all day. And I knew Matt personally.
Haley.
Matt met me, like Matt lived in my town, so I saw him all the time. But Haley, I didn't know she lived in another town.
Of course
she
she
lived in
did.
Canada,
In Canada?
actually. I think she did.
No way.
Yeah, I think
Of
she did.
course she did.
Yep.
She lived in Canada.
Yep.
And so after a while,
No, her. She lives in Canada.
she revealed herself to be she was a catfish. She looked different. She was using someone else's pictures, right? And so she came clean to Matt. Matt talked to me about it. He's like, it's fine. I still love her. It's okay. She changed all of her pictures. But I, being Matt's friend, was like, not on my watch.
Yeah.
So I went to Haley and I was like, this is bullshit. You shouldn't have done all this shit. And that's when she called me a twat.
Oh.
Justice.
And he took her side.
Ooh,
Well, fuck you, Matt.
Fuck Matt.
Yeah,
I mean,
honestly.
am I
we're
honest?
still friends on Facebook, so he might hear this.
Hey, Matt. You know what?
You know the error of your ways.
Yeah.
You made the wrong decision, Matt.
Friends first, man.
I was
They
trying
can
to protect
always-
you.
I got to know from our Canadian listeners, did any of your friends have American?
Girlfriends in America.
Boyfriends.
Yeah.
Huh?
My girlfriend's in America. You
She
would
lives
know
in
her.
Milwaukee. You wouldn't know
You
her.
would know her, eh?
Okay, so of course he passed that mission. Final mission was that he needed to stab John. Janet told Mark that John had an inoperable brain tumor and needed to be taken out, that the country depends on it. On completion, he would receive an employment contract, 80 million pounds, and sexual favors from Janet.
Honey. Oh my God. Like the first part, you're like, an employment contract, sure. 80 million pounds, maybe. Fucking
A 40-year-old.
being like, I'll give you a handy.
But she's still sexy.
She's still sexy.
Listen,
she's
bitch,
she's
so am I.
40. And she's still sexy.
And I am not.
But she's
she'll
still
give
sexy.
a
I'm
handy
like,
to a
what?
16-year-old.
What?
Why? Why would MI6 be like, yeah, that's
You
part
know
of
what?
our package?
It's insensitive.
I want to know about dental. I want to know about sexual favors from Janet.
What's your sexual favors benefit package?
Do I have to pay extra for that? Because I'm not into that.
Exactly.
Because I think
it comes out of your check.
How do I itemize that on my taxes?
And then, so he was supposed to do it. And the last thing that he was supposed to do as he was stabbing John was to say, trust me, I love you, bro. So this is June 2003 in an alley in Aldringham.
Oh my God, this is from February to June.
I know.
It's like so
it's
fast.
Not even 6 months. But yeah, dude, life comes up too fast. So Janet told him that if he heard the code 6969, he was to abort the mission.
6969.
Mhm. I'm like, Jesus
Janet,
Christ.
That's a 14-year-old who came up with that.
A 14-year-old boy wrote this. How
you're-
do you not know?
Because you're a 14-year-old boy, and that's how you know.
So, and he's supposed to do it, wait a bit, and then call emergency services. Janet would show up as a detective superintendent and basically make sure that he wouldn't get arrested.
Sweet angel.
I know. So the day comes, Mark and John are in Aldringham. They're like going around the different shops. Mark had John help him pick out the knife. And he picked like a really nice kitchen knife used to cut meat and everything.
How considerate.
They went into an alley finally after the day was done. Mark is like sweating. He's looking at everybody thinking they're different MI6 agents watching him, surveilling him, making sure he'll go through with the mission so that he can meet the Queen and Tony Blair. And then finally in the back of the
that
alley,
fucking handy for
Blair.
Janet.
you know,
Oh, yeah. Honestly, the main
the
source
main
of-
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And finally he does it in the alley. He plunges the knife into John's chest. And John's like, "You killed me, bro." And he does his line that he's supposed to say.
You killed me, bro.
Trust
What's
me,
the
bro.
Macbeth?
I love you. He stands him back up, stabs him in the abdomen, and then like waits. He waits for Janet to show up. So he stands there in the alley, keeps waiting. Finally, he calls 999. 99
Fucking
fucking
99.
9.
and police and ambulance and everything show up, and he's like, some fucking dude bro came in and stabbed my mate, and I don't know, and the police are like, oh my gosh, and it's in the papers.
Oh my gosh. The police were literally like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
They were, because it was not a big thing that happened in that area. So it was in the papers the next day. Random assailant stabs 14-year-olds. It was a big news story. And then they check CCTV and they notice it's like they can see two guys going into the alley. They wait. And then they see one guy come out and call 999. And so they're like, Mark, let's talk.
Honey.
Nobody else
Baby.
came into this alley. There's no other entrance. It's just you guys. So what's going
Trash
on?
monster.
Yeah. And so he's like, no, it wasn't me.
I don't know. How
Will not-
weird.
will
But
not-
I saw you
will
on the
not break.
counter.
Wasn't me.
John breaks finally after this because he does have life-saving surgery. He has to have his gallbladder removed, but he's like in intensive care for a week, but he survives. So he finally breaks and is like, yeah, Mark did stab me, but there's no why. They're best friends. It doesn't make sense to the police. So police gather their computers, and there's a detective, Sally Hogg, who is tasked with going through, I wrote it down, 133 gigabytes worth of chat room data from teens.
Well, yeah.
Poor
Okay.
Sally. Honestly.
She deserves a raise because listening
I
to the
wanna give her a
chatter,
medal.
reading the chatter of teens,
teenagers.
Oh.
and all day, every day. Because that's
And
how
having to watch the video.
Ugh.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I
So
want to arrest myself.
she's going through it. And
Yes.
And finally, the police are able to break Mark because Mark keeps waiting. He's like, I don't want to get Janet in trouble by talking to these
Where's Janet?
low-level
Where's my
police
handy?
officers.
I'm ready for my hand job.
So it takes like months. And finally, he tells police the whole story, and they're like, what?
Wait, what? What?
Because, I mean, imagine if you were a cop and someone told you this story.
No, I wouldn't believe this at all. At all.
Not at all.
It sounds fake.
It sounds like General Hospital.
Yes.
But it becomes super clear to the police
Passions.
that, like, as fake as it fucking sounds, Mark believes it. And that's where Sally comes in, because she has spent months looking at this shit. And she's like, this is crazy. I finally narrowed it down to 6 characters.
This wasn't on Broadchurch, and I want it to be.
I know, right?
You know how weird as it might sound to people, I believe it. Like I believe
Oh,
that
of
he
course.
believed it,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like the weird
too.
again, the weird shit that like I bought into
Yep.
at that age.
Rupert Grint,
Yeah, honey. Yes.
Keegan Grint.
I
love
wanted it real bad. If anybody knows him, I would love that shame receipt to be revealed to him.
Hashtag Rupert.
If I got to meet Rupert Grint through this podcast, I would be so happy.
I would be.
Hashtag Rupert.
Someone
Actually,
needs to
it's
photograph that interaction of me just like crying.
It's my
upon,
dream
like,
now,
me.
too. It's my dream now, too.
It is mine too. I'm not gonna lie. I want this more than I want
it's-
Christina to marry Bill Hader.
I'm not even trying to marry Rupert Grint. I
No,
just want to meet him and
I-
say like, hey,
I just want you guys to be
I thought I
besties.
had a relationship with you for like 2 years. Embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
This already is my
But
favorite episode of the show.
makes
I know.
100%.
It makes me my heart like, because I'm just like, as dumb as it is, and as much
It's
as we can
so-
look at it and be like, of
Yeah.
course you should have known better.
But you're a kid.
You're a kid.
And you get
You're
sucked
a
in
child.
if it's like
And
your
this is
your
baby
world.
internet too.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the thing, is that 16-year-olds nowadays would be skeptical as
Yeah.
fuck if they
don't
heard
believe
this shit.
anything, and I love
This
it.
is the very
Yes.
fucking genesis
Yeah.
of that
Oh,
being in your home.
it's why
Listen, my
millennials
son
are
was
so
born in
different.
97, not that long after you. That's why I said 5 years of
Yeah.
baby
Right.
internet, because
Yeah.
my son, by the time he was at that age, like he was like skeptical of everything.
I mean,
Like,
it's
hopefully.
true.
I mean, that's what I.
My brother's been staying with me, for 3 weeks. He was born in 2001. I was born in 1990. So there's like 10 and a half years.
Dylan lives right in the middle.
Yeah, and your son is right in the middle. And I would say like he is far, and this isn't in a bad way, but he is far more cynical than I was at 19. And I think it's because they have the reality of what like life is, because they've had the reality of the internet.
Nothing is real, because
Right.
like we grew up where it's like, especially Midwest,
Oh,
like
yeah.
your word is your bond.
Yeah.
Who you are is who
Absolutely.
you are,
Yep.
and like
You
and what
believe
say.
people.
tattoos that
You
says
believe.
so.
You trust
Yeah.
people.
You
Yes.
trust people,
Je suis qui
and
je suis.
the internet is like, it'll fucking pull the rug right out from under you.
Exactly.
Because the internet is lies, and we're not used
We
to
didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
We thought that the people were being truthful to us, and like
'Cause I had
yeah.
my real name. My real name was up as my username and shit. And
Oh,
I
mine
was
wasn't.
who I was, and yeah,
Mine
so-
wasn't. I am not going to deliver my internet name, but
I was Sweet Angel 101.
Of course,
Aw.
you're
Yeah,
sweet,
so-
angel. Sweet baby angel.
Sweet baby angel.
So, speaking of angels, this angel, Sally Hogg, sifted through all of those messages. She found the 6 main players. She finally narrowed it down over like 58,000 lines of text.
Oy
She was
vey.
like, okay, here are the main characters. You got John, Mark, Rachel, Kevin, Lindsay, and Janet Dobson.
The West and
Those
East.
are the main characters. And then she's like, this is so weird. She's like, they all, except for Mark, misspell maybe. They spell it Mybye.
Of all the words to misspell.
And then not only that, she's like, the night before the murder, someone logged in on John's computer under Janet Dobson's username. And
Also, you got a 40-year-old MI6 agent who's misspelling the word maybe.
right. And so she's like, who was home that night? Because they're like, it's somebody in the house. It's inside,
It's coming from inside
your
the
house. They're like, is it his stepfather? Is it his mother? Is what? And of course, John was the only one home. So she was like, as crazy as this story sounds, she was like, I had difficulty because he would bring these characters, cycle them in and out, sometimes going a couple of weeks without
John.
bringing them in.
I remember
and
that.
It was
Yeah.
continuous. He did not make a mistake. His
Yes.
continuity
Except for
was
maybe.
fucking great.
Yes.
Except for the maybe.
I remember that, like, when I was listening to the case file, it's one of the more, like, insane things about the story is that you have a 14-year-old who is I mean, that's why it was so difficult, is because you have a 14-year-old who is able to keep these very separate personas,
these insane stories, and he was able to speak because she was like, it's not only that, it was they had very different speech patterns. They had different ways of writing.
Honestly,
and
does he want to be part of MI6? Because you got the skill set,
right? Yeah, at 14, So John actually, of course, like, spoiler alert, I think we all knew from the beginning, but John was all of those people.
Wait, Janet's not real?
Janet is not real.
So he's not going to get the handy?
No.
And
Well, he
Well, he might have.
from somebody that was not Janet. But so John had joined these chat rooms around the same time that Mark had, but John didn't feel comfortable being himself. So he had joined as this fictitious character, Rachel West. And when Mark started paying attention to him, he fell in love with Mark. He didn't have those kind of emotional connections in high school or with people. And so then he got trapped in this story and felt like, if he revealed himself and he knew that Mark had, masturbated over webcam to him, that Mark would never talk to him again. So he felt like he had to concoct these more and more elaborate
building.
I could totally see how it could spin out of control so easy. I get it.
Yeah. So as it progressed, it began to weigh on John so heavily that, like, from March to June, when the stabbing finally went down, John barely ate. He lost, he was already a small kid, but he was, spending all of his time online and he wasn't eating. So he was tiny. He was really weighed down. And of course, he started thinking about suicide. He couldn't keep it up anymore. Obviously his sexuality comes into play and everything. It just weighed on this poor fucking kid who, he's a baby. They're
14,
babies. They're babies.
You're a baby. And also, you're still trying to figure out what that is, who you are. You don't
family
know.
Life. Or good friends or whatever that he could turn to. And so this scheme became more and more. So he is actually the one and only person in Britain that was charged with incitement to murder himself. So he was charged with that. Mark was charged with attempted murder. Both kids pled guilty. The judge looked at all the facts in the case, and this is one of the only stories I've ever read like that, where the judge actually looked at things, looked at their family life, looked at how they were in custody and what had happened since the whole thing went down. Was okay, these are kids. There are a lot of extenuating circumstances. I'm not going to put you in jail. I think there's a possibility for rehabilitation.
Exactly.
This is a messed up situation.
They're children. They're children.
But that almost never happens.
I know, but
I
think that's bullshit though, because I'm just it is great because I'm just we talk a lot on this show of things like this, and I think that this is a good example, albeit a very specific kind of example, but it is a good example of how your brain is not developed yet.
Right.
No.
You don't have the same kind of ability to understand consequences,
right,
or right from wrong,
he didn't
or
play the game that Christina played, consequences.
or just long-term permanence. Right. I feel like a lot of people who are teenagers don't understand permanence the same way.
Got somebody created an MI6 character to tell his friend to kill him. He's basically committing suicide
because of the guilt, the massive guilt he was feeling about whatever. Yeah, it's almost that person needs help. They need attention. They don't need to go to jail for the rest of their lives. That's not how that works.
You gave this person, and from what I've found, and I was able to do research, neither one has reoffended or done anything. They've actually gone on to live really productive adult.
It doesn't
normal
seem as
lives,
if they would,
good.
which is what they were able to do through the chance to rehabilitate and get mental health help.
And not to stand on my soapbox, but because we have for-profit prisons in the United States.
Preach, girl, preach.
We don't get that as much in this country because it's there's a benefit to locking people up and keeping them locked up, regardless of whether or not it does them or society any good.
Right.
Like
No, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what's so great is that both of these people have gone on to be contributing members of society. Is, I'm sure, the shame receipt of all shame receipts
of course,
for
of all
both
time.
of them.
Yeah.
You know, but
And thank God that it didn't end as horribly as it
Yeah,
could have.
I know.
I'm so glad he didn't die. It's like we
Exactly.
would have had
I
a
mean,
much
it was-
different ending.
it was close. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I mean, I had to share that story because I know that
It's so good.
we almost
Yes.
did it for the live show, and it's just been in the back of my head
Yeah.
since then.
I remember
I
listening
literally
to it.
can't stop thinking about
I remember listening to it on Case Ball and being like, "What the fuck?" It was so strange.
And I driving to Bakersfield, he was crying, laughing. It was so
And it's
funny.
so sad because like you don't want to laugh at these people, but you're like, it's so ridiculous. Like
so
from an
crazy.
outside perspective, you're like, it is so
And
insane.
it also just brings back all the fucking insane, crazy shit you
course,
believed when you were a kid,
yes.
and it's just like,
and it allows you so much more empathy because you're like, I get it. I get
it.
it. I get
too.
it. You know,
yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Ugh.
Great
So-
one. Thank you for doing that. That was so good. It was so
Such a good story.
Yeah.
Mark and John, there you go.
Ugh.
So speaking of like that story, I finally got Anthony after years and years to watch Broadchurch.
Yes, Does
Made
he
him do
love
it. I made
Does
him
he
do
love
it.
it?
He freaking
good.
loved it.
Of course,
We
it's
watched
the
the
best,
whole first
dude.
season. He loved it so much. This story reminds me of that. There's so many things where I'm like, feels like
that's so
Broadchurch.
funny because I literally in my mind it was Broadchurch.
Yeah.
I had these the characters were people from Broadchurch
For
like
sure.
The detective Janet Hogg. I mean, like
And
honestly,
I'm gonna start watching Bosch this week.
Okay.
100%. I'm going to.
you two must start watching Bosch.
I don't have Amazon Prime. I'm like the only person in the country.
Oh, I'll get you.
I know.
Wait, we got
Okay. Streminals.
criminals. Anyway, Bosch is so fucking good.
I
And
know. I wanna watch
texted you
it.
guys. It's like the fifth season, and somebody said, what was it that I sent you? It was
forget.
somebody said, oh shit,
Oh, if you're scrolling up on the My Worst Date thing, you're gonna be scrolling up for
Cheese
a while.
dick.
Cheese dick.
Yeah.
somebody
Gross.
said cheese dick on Bosch, and I was like, Christina.
All right. So speaking of cheese, all right.
okay.
So when we went to Anaheim, we stayed in a hotel, and I feel like it is your responsibility as a human when you stay in a hotel room to watch the most trash TV you
Yes.
can find.
Yeah.
I feel like that is how it works.
In
like
a
if you stay in a
very
hotel,
comfortable.
That's
bed.
always
Yes.
when I watch Dog the Bounty Hunter.
you sit in the most comfortable bed you can find, and you watch either like TLC, E, or Bravo,
Yep.
Yeah.
or Oxygen. Like that's what
Yes.
you're watching.
100.
And so we happened upon a show, and you guys are gonna be so grossed out by this.
Can't wait.
It's so
can't
gross.
wait.
It's on TLC, and it's called "My Feet Are Killing Me," and it's it's podiatrists dealing with really weird feet stuff.
I've actually checked out entirely. I'm sorry.
But surgeries,
I'm gonna pee
like really long toenails,
No.
extra toes,
No.
like
No.
weird shit on the
No.
feet. And
No.
how is this a fucking show?
How do we not have a
It's-
show?
I know. It's fully a show. And we watched like an episode or two when we were in the hotel. And then when I got home,
I hate it.
when I got home, Anthony was like, look and see if that's on demand.
Oh
no.
my god!
It is on demand. And we have watched like all of the available episodes.
No.
It is so gross.
Fucking
It is
cannot wait to talk to
gross.
Tony about this.
It is-
I'm so.
Fully gross, but we have watched several episodes. So I'm just saying.
That's amazing.
Wow.
My feet are
That's
killing me on
amazing.
TLC.
Okay,
I love
well,
that.
that's what you've been watching.
There's a very pretty doctor on there from the OC, Dr. Ebony. Hello. Hi. You're
Wow.
gorgeous. But yeah.
Well, this week I watched. I rewatched season 3 of Rick and Morty because I want to watch season 4.
Spectacular.
I fucking love Rick and Morty
Yeah.
so much. But then I also watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
In West Hollywood.
I'm calling it West.
How'd you feel?
So good.
I didn't. I was like,
Oh my
I
God. Thank
didn't
you so
like
much. Oh my God, thank you so much.
I mean,
I think it's overrated.
I liked it.
Wow.
I liked it.
Agree.
I wouldn't say I didn't like it.
Agree.
I would say I liked it. I just don't understand why it's getting so much hype.
Overrated.
I think
like,
it's so fucking good.
They're
agree.
just
I loved it, and
They're
I thought it was
just
great.
driving around. I'm like, I watch Brad Pitt drive around Los
Amazing,
Angeles
hot,
all day.
gorgeous.
He's fucking
Leo's-
Clearly, you
gorgeous.
won't.
I mean,
Clearly,
we did.
I will.
You
He
won't.
We did.
but
I mean, and Leo.
I thought Leo
amazing.
deserved.
Oh, I agree.
More of the accolades than
I
Brad
agree.
Pitt is getting.
I agree.
because Leo was
Great.
that moment
Amazing.
with
The
him,
kid.
him and the kid.
Oy vey.
That was the moment, and I
It's
was like,
the
"That is good."
moment. And how does that guy not get nominated? Because
Yeah.
I think they fucking hate Leo. And I'm telling you right now that he is. I said it from the beginning. I said, Chris and I both were like, if he doesn't get fucking nominated for this movie, how is Brad getting all the nominations and he's getting
'Cause
nothing?
Brad
Butt
Pitt
kiss.
just literally drives around the whole
It's
movie.
true.
It's literally
He's my least favorite part of the movie, but fucking Leo is amazing. I am here for it.
I think Leo's amazing. I thought Brad was good.
Jojo Rabbit's
Oh,
a better movie.
better
Fuck.
movie.
Parasite's a better movie.
Never saw it.
1917 is technically a better
1917
movie.
is a better movie.
Here's the thing. Yeah,
I love.
Once Upon a Time in
Once Upon a
Hollywood, I felt like I was a weirdo because I feel like it's overrated. I think it's fine. I think it's a good movie. I
Yeah.
think it's an enjoyable movie. I think like you will enjoy it if you watch it. I
And
don't
if you're a
if you're a
Quentin
Tarantino fan, you'll enjoy it. I don't think it is anything to write home about. I think it's the same kind of thing that Tarantino does usually.
Inglourious
It's like
Basterds was
Radiohead
better.
to me.
Better.
It's kind of like a
Inglourious Bastard was better.
Radiohead to me
Yeah.
because yes, Inglourious Basterds is amazing, but
Yeah.
it's like Radiohead. They're not going to come out with a new album that I'm not going to listen to and not going to enjoy,
Right.
Because it's Radiohead.
But you'll have your
Quentin Tarantino
your
is Radiohead.
preferences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like. Yeah, it's like Beck for me, right? Like I'm gonna like certain albums by him a little bit better. Sea Change isn't my favorite, and that's
and
fine.
there's
But some people are gonna love it.
there's no right or wrong answer. Look, we're not sitting here being like, I didn't love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so if you do, then you're dumb.
still
Like that's
have
not
to
it at
see
all.
Little Women.
It's I do want to see Little Women as well, but it's one of those things where it's just like everyone has different preferences, and I think that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a good movie.
And
I
I'm
don't
a
think it's a
hard
bad
QT
movie.
stan.
It's just not my favorite movie
Yeah.
that came out this year. That's
Jojo
fine.
Rabbit though.
Jojo Rabbit,
Everyone-
phenomenal.
If you
Shit.
haven't watched
Oh my
Jojo
God.
Rabbit, you must watch it
You
immediately,
have
if
to.
not sooner.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I'm not watching anything new right now, but what I have been doing recently is binge listening to a show that, okay, so I'm a narcissist. I think it needs not be said, but I looked up and saw, I was like, what podcasts are recommended when you look up My Worst Date?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So I was like,
That's so cute.
I just think it's
I've
funny.
never thought to
Like,
look that up.
I just was like, what would you recommend? Like, what are they recommending based off of like, oh, you listen to My Worst Date?
I'm
what should you-
interested. I've never
Okay.
looked it up. Yeah.
Well, one of them is called Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet. And it is, or maybe it's Water Too Wet, Beach. No, it's Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet. And it is fucking hilarious. Now, it is Christine from, And That's Why We Drink. And
Okay.
her brother. They're both
Oh,
from
great.
Cincinnati, which is
Oh,
awesome.
fun.
So
Yeah.
they're both Ohioans. I don't know if that's like the connection or whatnot.
Yeah.
But what they do is they read online reviews, and so they pick a topic.
fucking
So, for
love this
example,
so
one
much.
of them
I
was
love this so
it was one of them was like bars in Columbus, and so they
Great.
read like shit, like
I love it.
1-star reviews.
Oh, I love
and
it.
they read them like real
Genius.
dramatically.
Genius.
I'm jealous that I didn't come up
it's
with it.
a brilliant
That's so
idea.
fucking
It is
funny.
Fucking I have
Because the
been
people
binging
that
it.
actually take the fucking moment to write
Girl.
in a review.
Oh, and they go into detail, like several paragraphs
Oh
deep.
my God.
Oh, man.
Special type of person.
It's
oh my
brilliant.
God. That is so funny.
It's brilliant. And then they talk about like the like tropes of like bad reviews. Like, I don't like to write bad reviews, but
You sure do if you're doing it,
Honey.
because it takes
And then
time.
And then they'll like look and they're like, every one of their reviews are like 1 star, and they have like 20 of them.
Yeah.
You
No,
know
there
what
are
I mean?
people who get off on it. There are
Yeah.
people who get off on that
Yeah,
shit.
That
like
is
it's a
a
job.
And they
powerless,
deserve
small
to be
person.
called out.
Yes,
They deserve to be
exactly.
called out.
And it's
Yeah.
so
I love that.
good.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm gonna listen to that, and I want our listeners to listen to it too.
I've
Oh
been
my God.
binging
Speaking
That's
of
so funny.
what we were
It's
talking about
hilarious.
earlier, I got an ad when I was listening to a podcast about somebody who was doing a podcast where they were they were talking about like reading diary entries from when they were 14 or like when they were in high school.
That's like some
and I was
mortified
like,
nation
It is
shit.
it's mortified nation shit, but I'm
Yeah.
just like, that's also a brilliant concept for
Yeah.
a podcast. Have your guests on and have them read an entry from their diary from when they were in high school, because I guarantee you it is some bullshit.
It is.
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you have stuff that we should listen to, you have stories, you just want to reach out and talk to us.
Anyone you want us to double date with?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. We really appreciate you guys listening, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.